we go, ladies and gentlemen. We are live and we are back for this episode of Between Two Streamers. We are waiting on our co-host. So it's right now it's Mike and Chair stream. And so yeah, we're just getting through some technical stuff here and getting my co-host whenever he decides to make an appearance. So how's everybody doing tonight? Hey, there he is. Let's go, maggots. Fucking look at that. There he is. This is I don't know if this is a co-host that we could call Huey tonight. This is the maggot version of Huey. He's coming in hot, ladies and gentlemen, ready for this fucking Slipknot episode. Look at this man right here.
All right.
Here he is.
I need to know one thing.
What do you got?
Is everybody ready for the show tonight?
Chat, are we ready for the show? Come on. Let's see it in chat, all right? If you want to see this man get into it, you better show us that you are ready for this show tonight.
I said, are you fucking ready for the show tonight?
There we go. Get them emotes going. Let's go. Fuck yeah.
And my brothers, sisters, my fucking family, show me some emotes in the chat.
Let's fucking go.
Let's go. Let's go.
This is the show that I want to say we have been looking forward to for a very long time. The Slipknot episode of Between Two Streamers. Fucking legit. There he is, ladies and gents. Let's
it is
go.
warm in there, man.
you don't want to do a full 2 hours in the mask?
I don't know how those guys do it. I don't know how they do it, man.
It's
crazy.
ridiculous. It's ridiculous.
I might try and keep this on a little bit. If I get too hot, I'll gear down to the t-shirt.
Well, welcome back.
This is thick, dude. Look. There's like the 2 eye holes and 2 little nose holes. Oh, there's ear holes.
No, there's ear.
That is it, dude. And it's thick. It's friggin' thick.
It's like wearing a a tire
on your face.
Oh, nice. Well, here we are, ladies and gentlemen. As we said, this is episode 3 of Between Two Streamers. I am Mike.
The dirtiest of Mikes.
The dirtiest of Mikes. I'm sorry. I'm Dirty Mike, aka Mike.
Dude, I'm sweating.
So do you have a name besides Huey you go in whenever you're in the mask, or are you still Huey?
I'm still Huey.
Okay. Oh, you know, one thing I forgot to pull up before the show was my notes. Oh, look, I just ruined everything. Damn it, Mike.
Let's change that over.
There we go. I wanted to bring our notes up so that we have some kind of I have some kind of an outline to go.
Everybody's on the same page.
We're on the same page.
What's up, chat? Thank you for the emotes.
Jarzy, first time chatter. Jarzy, were you here? We used your transition. Thank you, sir.
Yeah, buddy.
Thank you so much for the transition. We appreciate it, man.
That transition's awesome, dude.
It's
Thank
so
you
good.
So much. I love that.
It's amazing. So for those of you who don't know, Jarzy is a good friend of ours, and we've known each other for a couple of years now, essentially going on a couple of years now, it seems like. And
that's
out of nowhere, between the last show and this show, Jarzy just sends me a message and is like, "I got something for you guys," and
I got a present.
Oh yeah, I got a present. We opened up Discord, and the transition that you saw between the starting soon screen and this screen was all done by Jarzy. So, round of applause for the man. Thank you very much, bro. We love you so much. And so here we are to talk about Slipknot. A little bit of change from the last.
Is that what we're
topic.
doing today? I didn't know.
We're doing Slipknot.
I didn't know we were talking
yeah.
about Slipknot.
We were talking about Slipknot. In case you weren't, you didn't know, Huey. Tonight's the Slipknot show.
I didn't know that's what the topic was. This is how my room looks.
No, Jarzy, I have it set up as our transition, so whenever we go to the ending screen, it'll go again. I promise. So, yeah, Slipknot. God, like what a we don't do our topics small on this show.
We go big.
We go big. In the very first show, obviously, Christopher Nolan movies got a little crazy. Last show, Coherence and
Mrs. Huey says I dress like this every Saturday. I do not dress like
Saturday.
Well, maybe.
Is this how you walk the dogs? put on your Slipknot outfit and go walk the dogs.
Yeah, just walk around in my friggin' scaring the shit out of the dogs.
And so bringing us to episode 3, we are into the topic of as Hugh and I have talked, chat, one thing we found is that we have a lot of very common interests. Obviously, it's why we're here doing this. But one band that we have that we both share a big passion for is Slipknot, and it's terrifying. She says.
I don't have the slippers, gamer. I got the socks. I showed this earlier. I got the
Yes. Can we do a sock of the stream real quick?
The sock of the show. I'm
sock of the show.
I'm geared up. I'm ready. I'm ready for the show.
So to get things kicked off for us tonight, everybody knows who Slipknot is. All right, they're like one of the biggest metal bands. Even if you don't know Slipknot, you know Slipknot. You're aware of Slipknot.
I feel I should know this now that this is the topic. But when did they come together? 95. Wow,
1995.
I knew that. I didn't just look at the computer.
The first album was not released, officially released until 1999, though. So anything that happened before 99 was technically in what the band considers like they were more like demos that were released.
Gotcha.
And so let's just get into history here. We're ready to get into some history of Slipknot.
Can I do one funny quickie?
Absolutely, please.
The last time I went and saw them live, which wasn't too long ago, I saw them with Cypress Hill in Ottawa. And I think most of the crowd was there for Cypress Hill. Because when Slipknot was up about halfway through the show, they said that, I'm going to fuck up the math here, but that's like, 20 something years they've been doing this, right?
Yeah.
So 20 something years they've been together. So in the middle of the show, Corey's like, the lead singer of Slipknot, he was like, how many people have been to Slipknot before? He does that. Yeah. And a bunch of people raise their hands. But then he asked, how many people, this is your first fucking Slipknot show? And most of the crowd raised their hands. And Corey goes, well, where the fuck have you been? We've only been doing this for 27 years or something.
Right? Dude.
It was so good. It was so good. But hey, there's no wrong time to get into it.
Yeah. And so, like, but that's exactly right. And, actually, because you say that, Huey, the way you say that there's no wrong time to get into it. You and I got into them at different points of their career as a band as well. So I think that's going to be, as we talk tonight, chat, we're going to talk a little bit about the history of the band, some of the background. We're going to start discussing some of the albums and stuff. And it's a band that has evolved greatly over time. And one of the things one of the clips that I did put together for us is a side-by-side video of a 2001 concert 2021 concert at Knotfest comparing to their first concert at Ozfest right after.
I'm excited to see that,
so all of the videos for tonight, I don't have them set up for full screen, so they're all going to show underneath us. One thing, obviously, chat, is obviously I know we're talking about music tonight, but everybody knows how copyrights are on Twitch and YouTube. So we're going to be showing clips, but we're going to be mostly just kind of talking through the subjects as we go. We can't have any of the music playing due to copyright issues and everything. So just so everybody's aware that, you know, when the clips come up and don't worry, there's not supposed to be sound, so don't freak out. um, so anyways,
I got a comment. I got a comment
please go
too.
ahead.
Mrs. Huey is a big country and folk and
Okay.
different kinds of like fans of that kind of music. When we first met and all that stuff, I got her to a Slipknot show right there in the chat. Still one of her top 3 favorite concerts, and that's a country music, alternative,
So
whatever. She likes a
so
lot of different things, but just like that tells you right there how they are live in that too, right?
and the
And for
reason
anybody, like it's such a good show.
and the reason for that, we keep saying it's a show. Like, it's not just a concert. You're not, and Miss Huey can attest for this, being not particularly a fan of the genre. Like, when you go to see Slipknot, you're not just going and watching a group of guys perform music. You are watching like
No,
a full-on spectacle, a show, a performance. I believe,
yeah,
like when we were talking the other day, it's like you said, it's like a full-on assault of your senses. It's
yeah,
amazing everything
yeah,
that's going on. So,
absolutely.
um, so
Okay, I keep jumping in. I'm gonna shut up. I'm sorry.
don't no, 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 this is what Between Two Streamers is. Why would you say
True.
that? We already mentioned the fact about like their foundation being formed back in 1995, and the formation of this band, the original members. The founding 3 members of Slipknot were Sean, who is the clown, Joey Jordison, and Paul Gray. They're the original 3 founders of the band. During the first few years of the band, they actually, I don't know if it was first few years, there was a period of time where Corey Taylor was not the singer for Slipknot in the beginning. There was a guy
Okay.
by the name of Anders who was the singer. But that being said, Corey Taylor was in the crowd at the very first Slipknot show in Des Moines, and like people attest, like like I said, that night he talked to his friends and he's like, I'm gonna be the singer in this band. Like he like, everybody's like, yeah, he totally came forward and told everybody like he's gonna be that guy. You know what I mean?
Nice.
So it was like meant to be. But
That's awesome.
just so how this band got started. Um for the main driving force behind Slipknot is Sean. And in listening to a little bit of a background for it, what I found out, it's funny because I have a lot in common with Sean, because before Slipknot he was a welder.
Oh, okay.
And so like he said it just clicked on him one morning where he was waking up at 4:30 in the morning driving to work, and he's like, he hated his job. He was like falling asleep behind the wheel. He's like, I hate my job, I don't like what I'm doing, and just like made a decision that he had to do something else with his life. And
There
that
you go.
that leaned into music and creating music and talking to other local musicians that he was friends with, like Joey and Paul and Anders, and they came up with, you know, the original concept for the band, and they were called the Pale Ones at the time. And
Perfect.
Joey Jordison, I guess, worked at a gas station in Des Moines, and they would all like go hang out at the gas station with Joey and just sit there and like pitch ideas for like
Okay.
songs and bands and concepts and all kinds of stuff. Like it's like that's literally the origins of Slipknot. And you know, they're on record of saying that the reason this band is formed is because like location is a big part of why they were formed, is because if for anybody's ever been to Des Moines, Iowa, I've been to Des Moines, Iowa plenty of times. It's like a desolate land of nothingness. And it's
Not
like
much to do.
you either go into construction or like, you know what I mean? It's like it's just your typical things and there's nothing to do. And keep in mind, everybody, like we're talking pre-internet days here, so it's not like you
Yeah,
could even like,
95.
yeah, 1995, the internet didn't exist like it currently did.
No.
You know, did it exist? Yes, but not really mainstream. For like, it was not in everybody's household. So
No.
I mean, so like these guys were just like in desperate need of some way to like vent this stuff that was like inside of them, that, you know, everything from just like kind of being an outcast, and you know, a lot of the members suffering from things like, you know, like mental illnesses, depression, anxiety, and stuff like that. And again, even though 1995 doesn't sound all that long ago, you know, here in 2023, we've come a long way in recognition of helping people with mental disorders and depressions and anxieties and that kind of stuff. But even that short, like 25 years ago or whatever, that kind of stuff kind
Yeah.
of just went ignored. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So
Yep.
uh
Dial up glory days. Yeah.
dial up Corey days, exactly. So so like it was just this group of like-minded people that like are like we need some kind of outlet for us. We don't
Right.
fit into the norms of society, and we need
We are
something.
not your
Thank
kind.
you. Yes, yes. One that is one of the Slipknot staples right there. Is we are not your kind, and that's how this band was formed. Um, Now, do you want to know? Obviously, you probably want to know how the masks came about being.
Lay it on me, buddy.
Let's go. All
You
right,
got all the
I'm the history guy.
the history and background and all the little tidbits.
I did my research here. Okay.
I'm sitting here just as much as chat, just sitting here like just learning so much.
So, you know, not, if ever there was something that would make you believe in, like, well, no, I mean, obviously, like fate. You know what I mean? Like things that are destined to be. So
Yep.
Sean said whenever he was 14 years old, he was walking through a mall in Des Moines, Iowa. Okay. He was supposed to be taking his girlfriend to lunch. And as he's walking by a Halloween shop, he was like drawn to this clown mask and went in and spent every dime he had on this clown mask. Didn't take his girlfriend to lunch, but was like, he's like, I had to buy this mask. And
You
then
never know.
so at 14 years old, and then
Yep.
fast forward to the points where he's having these discussions and actually creating the band. He's just going through some boxes in an attic or something, and he came across the clown mask that's been buried for, he said he probably hadn't seen it in like a decade. This thing's just buried in a box. And they had been toying around with the ideas of, you know, like how to present themselves differently as a band and what to do. Well, him and the singer at the time, Anders, were really big tabletop roleplay gamers. And they played a game. They played a game called in the World of Darkness called Werewolf. It's like a D&D, but it's much darker. It revolves around werewolves. And they said what the main thing that drew them to that game was that the idea of out of nowhere becoming something that you're not. It's not you. You change into something else.
Okay.
So Clown starts wearing the mask to practices and then like the first couple of shows, and was like first met with some resistance from the other band members. They're like, no, we're not fucking doing this, man. Like, what are you doing? You know?
Yep.
And like he just like stood his ground. He's like, no, this is who I am now. This is my stage performance. This is who I am when I go on stage. And like slowly the other members started coming around, and next thing you know, everybody has their own unique mask to represent the person that they changed into when they were doing performances. So
there you go.
So that's how the masks came to being. You know, random, just such a random happenstance of bought a clown mask and.
Well, that's better than like, we need a gimmick.
Everybody
grab a mask. Like, at least there was like a fucking, you know, an actual reasons, and you know what I mean, like a whole thing to it, and it's like meant to be or whatever. Like, it's not like we need a gimmick to look cool, like to stand out so we get popular.
Yeah, it like actually means something to them. You
exactly.
know? Like
that's good.
And again, we were talking about pre-internet days, so there was a lot of the first years in the days of Slipknot where nobody knew what these guys looked like. Nobody knew their real names. Like, you only knew Slipknot by this group of masked maniacs jumping around on the stage, beating the shit out of each other. You know?
Yeah.
So yeah, it
like
was
Kiss or whatever, right? Nobody knew what those guys looked like for a long
time, very long time. Yep. So so that's kind of how things came together. And you know, like I said, the original group, you know, started off with just a few of them. As the Pale Ones, they wrote a song called Slipknot. And so then it was actually Joey's idea one night as they were talking in the gas station. because they didn't want to be the Pale Ones anymore. They were trying to come up with a new band name, and Joey was like, "Slipknot's our name." Like that, like from writing that song and seeing that, he's like, "No, that's it. Like this is what it is, guys."
Nice.
So yeah, Slipknot. The name is actually based off of a song that was previously written by the Pale Ones.
I'm learning so much. This is great.
I watched like a lot of it was refreshers, but I actually found a decent amount of new material too that as I was kind of doing my research over the last week to refresh my memory of when these things all occurred.
Right.
And I don't know, man. Like I could sit down and watch Slipknot documentaries nonstop because they're such an interesting topic. They really are. It's
For
just
sure.
there's so
For
much
sure.
to this band and who they
Right.
are and how they came to be.
Yep.
So yeah. So I guess that's kind of a backstory leading us up to um, to be honest with you, like right around 1999 when their first album came out, that's when I got into them. Um,
Okay.
so it was like instantaneous. Like the album came out, I already knew about them, and I was like, "Damn, all right." And I always felt a connection because like I knew they were from the Midwest, and I'm from the Midwest myself, and like
Right.
there's that whole like channeling of like your feelings and like this that portrayal like I connected with their music like instantly the minute I heard it. I was like, damn,
Nice.
like these guys get it, man.
Yeah.
Like this is great. So
Yeah.
I've been a fan since the very first album when it first came out. And I used to buy like the VHS bootleg tapes of like their
Nice.
concerts and stuff.
Yeah.
And so yeah, I got to see a lot of the performances. I was still a little young. I was like 14 when I started getting into Slipknot. But
Nice.
yeah, I would buy back in the day you'd have your rock and roll magazines. I
Yep.
every time like there was a Slipknot article, I was like, I've got to get this one. So
Added to the collection.
oh, I had a huge collection of them. So yeah, man,
Nice.
absolutely amazing stuff. So that I guess that kind of leads us up to the first album, the self-titled album,
Okay.
released in 1999. Now you mentioned this is probably one of your least listened to albums of theirs. Is that correct?
Yeah. Yeah. You want to go through? We're gonna go. You want to go through all the albums now?
Sure. Yeah. I guess I was just to that point. I was just kind of bringing it up, but yeah. Do you want
Oh,
to
okay.
do you want to start to go
Well, I was
through
gonna do
some of
how
these?
I got in how I got
Yeah,
into them.
please, yeah, please.
I so uh how's I gonna? I'm trying to think of it now. I thought of this before. Like I had back in it must be in high school, I guess. I I was kind of just neutral
Mhm.
with like the clicks, you know. I was picked on a lot in grade school and didn't have a lot of friends. But then in high school, I kind of was like just neutral and was like kind of friends with everybody.
Mhm.
And I remember, you know, seeing like the gothier people that were into, they were all the black and all that stuff. And you'd see them with just like the Slipknot sweaters and stuff like that, and the dyed hair and that whole thing in the 90s.
Oh yeah.
And
I rocked a blue mohawk for quite some time, just so you know.
nice. And I, being kind of new, I was just kind of like, I don't really get it, and it's not. I wasn't really into metal and music like that. I was more into like rap back then and stuff. And I remember other people judging those people and being like, Slipknot sucks and that's all garbage and whatever, and just hearing that and having not actually listened to the music, judge them just like the other people. And
Yeah.
I always thought, well, I'm not gonna like that. That's something that the goths like, and that's
Yeah.
not my thing. And I'm not, you know what I mean? I
Yeah.
judged it, and I feel bad saying that now because that's stupid and whatever, but you're dumb in high school. So
You are.
anyway,
We were all dumb kids at that point.
yeah,
We knew nothing.
I feel bad about that, but that's kind of where my head went. So I stayed away from them for a while, and again, I wasn't really into metal. So as my taste in music kind of changed, my younger brother, got into a band, started playing guitar with his buddies, and got into more, punk metal, that kind of stuff, and playing their own music. And so I got into Slipknot because of Guitar Hero.
Okay. Wait a minute. Was Slipknot on Guitar Hero? Hold on a second.
Oh yeah, bud.
What
buddy.
Slipknot song was on Guitar Hero?
Oh, it's right here. I think there's a few. Oh, I'm gonna fuck it up. Which one now? I gotta grab all of them. Oh, not that game though. Hold on.
Chat, here's where we get into Huey's Guitar Hero collection that we didn't know about.
Yeah, Guitar Hero 2's up there too. Yeah, sorry. So Guitar Hero 2, then we've got Guitar Hero 3, then we've got Guitar Hero World Tour, and Guitar Hero Warriors of Rock.
Dang, okay. So you've got the whole collection.
I'm not going to look through them, but I don't remember which one it was. But Before I Forget was on one of those. I don't remember which one. So anyway, again, my brother being into it, and Guitar Hero was massive, right? Like a fucking gamer, and anyway, everybody played them.
I had Guitar Hero 3. That's about the time I played Guitar Hero.
Okay. So Before I Forget's on like 2 or 3, and then Psychosocial's on Warriors of Rock.
Okay.
For sure. There might be more, but anyway. So Before I Forget was on there, and obviously played like that game like to death. Guitar Hero 3, okay. So loved the song. Like Before I Forget, I just got into it. And again, I was like just transitioning from like rap into more rock and listening to like rock radio stations and stuff like that. And yeah, loved Before I Forget. So then I was kind of like, man, like what the fuck were all those people in high school talking about? Like, this is sick. Yeah. It's a great song. Like, I love the song. And so I was just playing it and playing it more and more, and just loved playing that. So then I remember being at like HMV. Man, that seems like a long time ago. That'll be the next episode.
Yep.
I remember being at like HMV or whatever and seeing the album.
Yep.
Volume 3, and like picking it up and seeing Before I Forget was on it, and I'm like, you know what? I'm gonna buy this. I love that song and I want to listen to it. So I got into Slipknot at the 3rd album.
Okay.
So, and then getting into Guitar Hero and all that stuff. So that's where I think we're gonna see our the way we think about the band very differently, because like you said, the albums change, and the sound and all that stuff changes drastically. So we have our own Slipknot journey we've kind of been on.
We do.
But like after that, I always one of my I have a laundry list of favorite songs, but one of my favorite songs I've always loved Bother by Stone Sour.
Okay. Yeah.
And I had no idea that it was Corey. I didn't have no idea it was the same singer in the band. I had no idea. I don't know if there's other members. I don't know all the members.
Jim Root was in the original lineup for Stone Sour as well.
Okay, so I remember loving that song, and then Vermilion Part 2, like the slower one. I always loved that. Once I knew that song on that album, and then Bother and all that stuff. I know they're slower. They're not heavy Slipknot songs, but like, that's just my experience, and I loved that song. I'm like, I didn't know Stone Sour was fucking that. Like, somebody told me that, and I'm like, no, that's not Slipknot. He's like, yeah, that's fucking Corey Taylor. So that kind of just even more. I was just like, man, this is a sweet band. Like, I love the music and all that stuff, and I think went from there. So
I think that the music video for Bother, if I'm not mistaken, was probably the first time I remember seeing Corey's face.
Oh, okay.
You know, like that, because again, you know, kind of early internet days, and I didn't go. It's not like I went researching all the time. You know, once I did get the internet, like I didn't get the internet first. It was like, what does Slipknot look like? You know, like,
So,
but I think like I remember whenever Stone Sour came out, and I had been following Slipknot pretty heavily at the time, so I knew that Corey and Jim
Nice.
were going over to do Stone Sour, so I knew it going in, but then it was like all exciting because it's like they're not gonna have their masks on, like you know
Right.
what I mean?
Exactly.
It was crazy,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
so
Oh, so
yeah,
so because those are because of Guitar Hero, if I on my profile, like back on Xbox 360 is what you play those on.
yeah,
You used to have the little avatars, right? You could create, you can do that now, but like in your thing, you create your little avatar.
yeah.
My little avatar guy is wearing a Slipknot t-shirt.
Oh, that's awesome.
It's from, they did it for the game, and I'm like,
Yeah,
yep, I'm buying that. So
mine.
if I fired it up right now, my little guy's wearing a Slipknot shirt.
That's sweet.
Yeah.
Nice. So I'm gonna rewind you just a little bit though, because
Okay.
I know your journey picks up at volume 3, but there's a lot to talk about. Well, not a lot, but a little bit to talk about between the first and second albums as well.
Oh yeah. Yep.
Because my favorite album to this day is still the original album.
Okay.
And
Switching over to my album list.
okay, I have that pulled up somewhere in these windows as well. So yeah, the
Wish
very
it wasn't the
first
white
Slipknot
one.
album, you know, like
That looks stupid.
the I don't remember the name of the producer that they picked up for that, but like, you know, they got recognized for obviously their live shows and like the raw just like anger and power that was coming through in this music. And
Right.
you know how it can go in production, like you can lose a little bit of the feeling of the music by recording. You know
People
what I
telling
mean?
you what to do.
Yeah, people telling you what to do, cleaning it up so it sounds a little bit better, stuff like that. So the producer that they worked with really like understood the band, and I think they all like lived together in a house and recorded the whole first album, and just like kept it
Nice.
to where like he didn't clean it up, he didn't do anything. He's like, no, that's your sound, like we're gonna keep it and it's gonna sound, you know, close to live. It's gonna sound like a studio album, but it's gonna sound like Slipknot. We're not gonna lose who you are in the recording process. And so like they went through and recorded that album, and by the way, all of their original demos from like 95 up to the release of the first album, they were funding by themselves. They had nobody back, and they
Wow.
dumped like 40 grand in like demos and stuff, just putting their stuff out locally in like the Des Moines. And we're talking like maybe 1,000 albums out there that were like original
Right.
Slipknot demos. So you know
Right.
they finally get the recognition, and they finally, you know, get, you know, I think it was Roadrunner Records, I could be wrong, that finally picked them up. That sounds right.
Yeah. Yeah,
um
that's them. I was
okay.
gonna ask you, was there any beef with them? Like, did they not like them or something over the years? I don't know if I remember hearing that or not. I
um
was gonna
I
ask you that. I don't remember.
well
Did they not like that label and they got out of them or something?
I'm not sure what the falling out
I don't
process
remember.
was, but I do know that upon the success of the first album, they were very pressured into getting the next album out, which was Iowa.
Oh, okay.
So
Oh, okay.
like they you got to think, you know, they essentially had 4 years in writing music for that first album to be put together and, you know, written and
Right.
distributed. And then like the album or the producers or production company is like within a year, like you got to put it on another album, you've got to do this, you know what I mean? So there was already tension in going and becoming a little bit more mainstream, because it kind of went against who they were, you know what I mean? They wrote organically,
Right.
they, you know, they weren't like rushing to make a bunch of money, but that's what a production company is for. They want to make their money, and they want to strike while the iron's hot.
Right.
So they put out their first album. Upon release of their first album, they already got enough notoriety to go on tour on Ozfest. So they hit
Nice.
Ozfest with their first album. They toured, they went crazy, they partied, they did the whole like we're successful rock stars thing now. And
Yeah.
then like
Yeah.
I guess like at a certain band meeting, they like were all like sitting there like, like what the fuck do we do now? What's like what is
Now
this?
what? Yeah.
We're just a bunch of like misfits performing crazy music. Now what do we do? And
Right.
there was actually serious talk at that point of like, let's just fucking split up. Like let's just like end this. Like we're
Oh,
like
jeez.
quit on a high note, you know? So like as
Yeah.
they refer
This was
to it.
fun. We made some money. Yeah.
Exactly. They said they referred to it as Sex Pistols style because that's pretty much what they did. Like they were just like
Yeah. Yeah.
super hot and then just like, yeah, we're done. Okay. And then but obviously
Fuck
they decided to stay together.
it.
So we still have Slipknot touring today. Um so they
They
got back.
tour a lot.
They tour a lot. Like
They tour a lot. I feel like
worldwide
every year.
tours. Yeah, pretty
Yeah.
much.
Like
But
yearly. Like
but
just as soon as they're done, they get a few
they
months and then
just
they pick it up again.
but I feel like
Crazy.
that's part of who they are. I feel like their passion is in performing in front of their fans.
I
You know what I
get it, but like when the fuck is like
mean? When is
Corey
life?
doing his thing and Stone Sour doing their thing, and like when the fuck do you guys see your families? And it's
Well,
all the time.
it is
It's
all the
crazy.
time, but you have to take a look too that like it seems nonstop, but their albums don't come out yearly anymore. You know what I mean? Like they've got
Right.
several year spans in between their albums now. Like
Right.
you know, they each had their, or well, not each, but like a lot of them had their own bands that they're doing. Joey with the Murder Dolls, Corey with Stone Sour, and he also does the Corey motherfucking Taylor tour now. He has his
Yep.
second solo album getting ready to come out right now. Sean, I believe, had another band. They have other business avenues. We have Slipknot whiskey out there now. Okay,
Whiskey.
like
I know.
there's a
Yeah.
whiskey, you know. So like they're
Yeah.
so mainstream. Again, I know I keep jumping ahead and talking about like how they are now, and like, but seriously, like again,
That's the show, people.
a group of yeah, I know, right? Get used to it. Just like a group of like depressed misfits
These
get
guys are all over
together
the
and
map.
wear masks, and all of a
Yeah.
sudden we're like, try Slipknot whiskey, nice and smooth. You know, like what
Yeah.
the fuck is
Yeah.
happening here? But so yeah, Iowa, the album, if you listen to a lot of like the lyrics and the messages and the music, the anger there kind of shifts from the anger. I mean, the feeling of the album kind of shifts from like what they had experienced in childhood to kind of the experience of becoming big. So like there's a
Okay.
lot of like lyrics of like kind of like are kind of
Yeah.
like bashing production companies and shit. You know what I mean? Like talk
Yeah. Yeah.
like not talking about how it's not about fucking money. You know, so
Right.
they kind of rechanneled their anger in a different direction. And it
Right.
worked. It worked because fucking Iowa's still a great album. You know, like I love Iowa. It's so good.
Yeah.
So for a follow up album, um, they recaptured a lot. They evolved. There was a change in the music, obviously. You know, they tasted a little bit of success, so there was a little bit of change there, but it was still Slipknot. You know what I mean? And I feel like we could say that during as we jump to each next album. I feel like we could just keep saying that exact same thing over and over again. Like it changes a
Yeah. Yeah.
little bit, but it's still Slipknot. You know.
So
Mhm.
who like um I guess not like different from now, but like uh the first album, it was all the original. It was all the original guys. There's 9 of them, right?
Yes.
For anybody that
Yes.
doesn't know,
Yep.
there's
Yep.
9 members in this band. You can see
9
most of them
people.
here.
Yep.
So there's 9 members, and okay, so that was a dumb fucking question. That's the original group, okay, right?
I believe like
And then,
I believe the
or
first
did
4
anything
albums.
change between?
No, I think the first 4 albums were all the original group.
Okay, okay,
We
I
didn't
didn't
have
know that. I
a
didn't know
change
that
in
when.
lineup until album number 5, the Gray chapter, and that's the one that was
Right. Okay.
dedicated to Paul Gray. Yep.
Right.
So
Okay.
so
Just checking.
Slipknot, Iowa, Volume 3, and All Hope Is Gone are all the same lineup. Yep.
Okay. Well, wasn't sure.
No, you're
Wasn't
good. You're good.
sure.
And we can kind
My
of like. I'm sorry. Please, yes.
I was just gonna say to everybody, like my thing, I've I've gone back and listened to these, but I came in, like I said, on like the third albums, so I don't know I've listened to them a bit and gone back, but again, it was more heavier than what I was used to. So I haven't like gotten too deep into these. I've listened to them a little bit, but I wouldn't say that these first ones are my favorites. Just putting it out there,
Mm-hmm.
like because I've listened but I will say though, like I know them from like seeing the live shows and stuff like that and listening to them a little bit. They're awesome fucking songs. It was
Oh yeah.
just like in the beginning in that I was drawn more to the Before I Forget and like I came in on the third one, right? So it was like going
Yeah.
back listening to the older stuff and what a difference in sound, like we're gonna talk about, but just
Yeah.
yeah.
So, so
Is
getting
there any of your favorite? Like, I didn't know if you were going to the second album. Like, was there like any of your favorite songs on that album, or like the first? Like, what are your favorites on that album, on the first one?
I think I like every song on the first album equally. Like I love that whole first
Nice.
album, dude. Even like some of like the back in the day they used to be considered hidden tracks because on CDs, the like when you listen to a CD or a tape, the last
Yeah.
track would be like 14 minutes long, and there'd be like a track at the end of the 14 minutes. Like the song Eeyore
Right.
on
Yeah.
there, it was just fucking brutal, man. And like I guess I should explain too, like my musical taste. You know, you said you were like kind of like rap and stuff before you started getting into some of this kind of music. So I
Yeah.
was going from bands like Cannibal Corpse and like hardcore thrash and death metal. So this was almost like a lighter metal music
There you
than what
go.
I normally
Yeah.
listen to.
Yeah.
Miss Dirty's always like, or she not always, but she's like, I don't, you know, like I don't know what they're saying, you know, like how do you understand them? It's like I listened to bands that were literally just like grunts and groans for like most of
Yeah.
my
Right.
childhood. So getting into Slipknot's a little
I don't care what
easier
he's
to
saying. I care about
understand.
how it makes me feel.
That's a big part of it, though. That's such a huge part. Is like
Exactly. No, I know.
you
I
yeah, I
know.
never understand exactly. See, there she is. I knew she was listening, but you know, but that's a part again. I keep saying like that's such a big part of Slipknot's music is like you could tell there's emotion there. You could tell that
Oh,
there's I do have to say one of my favorite songs is the last song on the first album, Scissors, and
yeah.
um so again a little bit of backstory of
A
that
20-minute
song.
song.
Scissors, it's not 20 minutes. It's 20 minutes on the album because there was hidden tracks at the end. So there's
Okay.
like there's probably like 15 minutes of blank in there. But I do think it's like a 5 minute song
Okay.
at least. Um
Okay.
but when they recorded that song, like the dude that was so like for keeping the sound together, like whenever he was telling Corey like I want you to come in and put everything and every bit of emotion and everything you've ever felt into this fucking song. So if what I've heard is correct, okay, Corey shows up completely wasted, like out of his mind. And I heard he was naked in the recording studio, like wasted, screaming this song and just like going it's
Really?
just like insane into it, and they kept it all in. You can actually hear him like vomiting in the song, like he's like getting sick in the recording studio, like because he's drunk and he's screaming and he's like emotional
Yeah.
and going crazy, and like that's the track they kept in there together, was just this like complete outburst of emotion from this young guy, and just like, but it was that, it's again, it's that like raw, like
Yeah.
almost physical, you know, like bringing all of that in and creating that sound and making it work. So that's one of my favorite songs, honestly, Scissors. It's such a good song.
Nice.
Miss Dirty says she's listening to
I'll
Slipknot in
say I
high
know
school.
like the
Whoa,
ones.
I don't think I knew that.
I'll say the ones I know like from the tours and like Wait and
Okay.
Bleed,
Oh yeah.
Surfacing, Fit It Out. Those are probably the main ones that they play at the shows and stuff like
And I
that.
mean,
Yeah.
Spit It Out. Can we just talk about Spit It Out? Can we do that right now? Can we talk about it?
You don't want to do that later when we get to the live stuff, or do you want to do it now?
Well, we can't.
Or what are we doing?
I'm sorry. No. Let's keep on track. I'm sorry. I'm excited for that.
There's no rules, buddy. If you want to do it now, we fucking do it now.
No. Let's hold off. Let's hold off until we talk more in depth about live performances. It makes more sense then.
Okay.
All right.
Okay.
So yeah. So and I would almost say like like Wait and Bleed, Spit It Out were some of the more popular songs on that album too. I mean, those were like the big hits. So, but those were, I don't know. Like I said, I turned that album on and I don't like, I just like put the full album, like just play all of this, please.
Right.
And, like that's how I listened to the first album still to this day. So I guess before we move on, do you have any other comments on the first album? Having come into it later and listening to it, kind of catching up with their previous music.
Right. Yeah. No, I don't really have anything else to.
Okay.
To kind of, I don't know what to.
So
I kind of said it, like I said. I've gone back and listened to it.
I kind of covered all of my.
It's not one of my favorites because it's,
yeah. All right, so Iowa. Iowa. I don't have a lot to say about Iowa because it was just like the next one that I loved. Like it was just like a continued. It was just a continued thing for me. I'm still in high school at the time. I think I was like probably a sophomore or something when Iowa was released. Again, like the masks changed a little bit going into the next album.
right.
Very, very similar masks, but you started to see like a little bit of change. So it's like that evolution of music, the evolution of the masks, which again relates to like the evolution in how they are feeling, as a person and how they are portraying themselves in concert and to the people and everything. So, Iowa, I thought was a really good follow up. I know a lot of bands fall apart at their sophomore album. That's, what I mean? They get the initial success, they hit their sophomore album, it's okay, and then by the third album, usually things fall apart. And I definitely feel like this was an opposite thing for them. I feel like Iowa started to propel them further into the mainstream. With picking up more tours, getting more radio time. Songs like Left Behind was huge on the radio. Correct me if I'm wrong, but that was probably one of their biggest songs on the radio off that album. I mean,
yeah,
I think so.
I could see, for sure. Were there many from the first one? Or was the first one was all pretty heavy, right? I don't know if a lot of radio stations would have.
Yeah, they shied away from it.
Yeah,
like I said, you kind of named the most popular two, but it wasn't really due to radio play or anything like that. It was just kind of like fan favorites, I feel like.
right.
But yeah, Iowa, after their popularity on Ozfest and really getting that touring on Ozfest is going to get you some serious recognition, especially a band that you released your album and you just got booked for Ozfest because they're like, yes. so yeah, Iowa, like I said, they almost broke up in between that and Iowa. Decided to pull it together, do this album, and yeah, they sold an absolute shit ton of albums whenever it came to Iowa because they were mainstream now. I really feel like they'd hit it. They'd hit the big time.
Right.
So I feel like it was a transition album from those original guys, because I feel like by the time we talk about Volume 3 Subliminal Verses, now they're on Guitar Hero. They're, you know what I mean? Like they're by album 3, they're huge. So I feel like this sophomore album was like a transition period. Yeah.
Right. I don't know when. I think it was 3. I think it's 3. So I don't know when 3 came out, but like I'm
2004.
The album Volume 3 came out in 2004.
Volume 3 came out in 2004. Or Guitar Hero. Oh, Guitar Hero 3? Okay. The Guitar Hero 3 I'm not sure about. I'm sorry, I was talking about Volume 3 Subliminal Verses.
Yeah. So I have no idea. But I didn't know if they just like went back in time and picked a good song. You know what I mean? I don't know if Guitar Hero 3 came out at the same time.
That is true.
Fuck, it'd be close.
Probably
It'd be
is.
close.
It's worth a Google search.
Because 2004, I graduated high school, and then Guitar Hero was pretty big then. So yeah, it probably was pretty close then. Never mind.
2007. So they did go back a little bit.
Okay.
But but that I'm looking. All Hope Was Gone had not yet been released yet.
Right.
So the most recent Slipknot album for Guitar Hero 3 to pick off of would have been Volume 3. For before
Right.
I forget.
Okay.
Yep.
Gotcha.
Yep.
Okay.
I graduated in 2011. Miss Dirty, you're talking to two old men here. We don't need your reminders about our age,
We'll rub it in.
okay? Yeah. Congratulations. Oh shit. So
Okay, so
yeah. Go ahead.
so, yeah. I forget what you said.
About
the second
I
album.
just don't have a lot to say about the second one, except I feel like it was a transition period for the band. It was like their growing stage. You know, they were going through their growing pains before really hitting it off big with subliminal verses.
Right. I could see where the success of the first album and those songs and how that album is, right, to lead into Iowa, and looking at those, like, again, I don't memorize everything, but like looking at all those songs and knowing the songs that are on that album, that is like a sick follow-up, right?
Yeah.
To release what they did with the first album and just the feel of it and the, you know, how whatever the heaviness and like whatever the grit, and then looking at that play, like whatever that list of the second one, that's like what a follow-up, you know, like there'd be no disappointment, I wouldn't think, from fans of the first one to drop those songs like that. It's a sick follow-up. So
was Duality on Iowa or Volume 3?
That's on 3.
It's on 3. Okay. I couldn't remember which one that was on. But no, you're right. Like, and again, to recreate that magic in such a short period of time, because the first album was released in 99 and they already released the second album in 2001. You know, that's 2 years. So that's an album release, a year of touring, and a year of recording and release. So with that's how many years they spent on that first one, then to turn around and recreate the magic again, filled with doubt that they were even going to be able to do it. You know what I mean? Like, or even wanted to do it, if we're going to be perfectly honest. Like, it's you know, they really pulled something together there. Like you said, you look back at the track list on there and it's like, damn, like you guys killed it.
Yeah, I would say for different reasons then, and it's interesting that I would probably put this one as my second favorite as well. If you're saying that the first album was like your favorite and the second one was your favorite, I'm thinking I'm gonna go back. So like, you know what I mean? I love 3. That's when I came in, but 2, like Iowa, is that's a sick album.
It is
some crazy songs on there, right? So
yeah, absolutely.
I think I would go that way.
Okay.
I never, not until looking at all the, I'm like, yeah, that's a good album.
You know, it's funny because I knew we were gonna like get into talking about the albums. This is gonna turn into another Christopher Nolan thing, by the way, because we're like, I was like, oh yeah, we're gonna go over the albums, and here we are, an hour in, we're on album 2. So, but yeah. So anyways, yeah. As far as my personal favorites, number 1 is definitely my favorite album. Iowa, I feel like definitely it might start to mix up in the later albums as to which ones are my favorites. But like the first 3, I would say, are my 1, 2, 3s for sure. So yes, this is album number 2 favorite of mine, Slipknot, Iowa.
Gamer said they got banned with Iowa for most venues after September 11th.
Yes, so yeah, that's a good point that he brings up, because the album was released on August 28th, 2001. Shortly after, we had the September 11th, 2001 attacks on the trade centers. And that was a time in America's history that things were really tightened up on. Like, as far as like the media goes, what could be played in like violent music, for lack of a better term, was like, no, we're not.
That's always the thing, right? Like
It is. There's always, you blame the music, you blame the video games, you blame the movies, you blame.
bowling for or Columbine happened. Bowling for Columbine, fuck. Columbine happens, and
Yes.
Marilyn Manson's not allowed to play in the city, right?
Yep.
It's like, come on, just because they listen to Manson, like, yeah. And
Yeah.
video game, like, I've been playing video games my whole life. I don't want to go shoot up a school, you know, like, fuck. I hate that stuff.
That's good to
I
hear.
hate
Thank
that
you
stuff,
you for clarifying that, Huey. So
Well,
just,
come on.
I know. I know.
It's the biggest argument. Oh, did they play? Oh, you know, they were, you know, oh, did they play
Yep.
Call of Duty? Well, that's why.
Yeah,
No.
but look, Gamer said it right there. People equal shit, and the Heretic Anthem were on Iowa. So you look at those, even you look at the names of the songs, and
That's fair. I can see that.
they're like, nope, not these guys.
Yeah, no,
nope.
let's not let these guys play here.
Exactly.
I guess I get it, Gamer. You're right. Yeah, people equal shit's a hard one to. It's a hard one to be like, yeah, let's bring those guys in and let's hear that rowdy music. Yeah.
But again, it's the uneducated people who are hating on it, because
Exactly.
whenever you look at
people equal shit is about the terrorists driving
yeah,
into the building.
exactly.
That's what I shouldn't say that,
Right.
but like,
but it is,
I don't know,
people
man.
equal shit is about people who hate everybody, hating on
The
everybody
bad
else.
people. Exactly.
They are literally silencing
I shouldn't judge
the
who's good and who's
people
bad. That's not my place.
who are against like hating of other people. It's ridiculous. You know, I don't know, whatever.
Exactly.
But that's a topic for another day. All right, like we could go on to that for hours.
You're right.
So I guess volume 3.
Volume 3.
Volume 3. Let's go. Now you get to take the lead. Volume 3. Huey enters the scene.
Take the lead. Oh my goodness.
This was your album.
It was. I don't know if you'll agree, but there's definitely I feel there's a huge transition to this album. Huge.
I mean,
and I think that's why I love it so much, is because I was early again into my transition into liking rock and metal and heavy rock and all that stuff, right? So I have a question for you.
Please, yes.
Was Stone Sour established before this album came out?
Stone Sour existed, went on hiatus, and then they started again. So
this came out in 2007, you said?
Volume 3 came out.
No, 2004.
2004, I think.
2004. And when did Stone Sour become a thing?
I'm looking that up.
Sorry.
No, you're good.
I didn't mean to rush you. I was just
I'm not
repeating.
Sorry. Stone Sour.
So I will say, okay.
So they formed in 1992. They disbanded in 97.
Wow.
Reunited in 2000. So
okay,
so that is an interesting, because Stone Sour was pretty active around these two albums. Let's say that pretty safely.
Right.
And there was a full year around this time where Corey and Clown didn't get along and didn't talk to each other. And it was because, like, there was a little bit of, they're starting to experience some fatigue, some Slipknot fatigue. They're going hard. And then there was some creative differences in what they wanted to do. And so, like, Corey's like, I'm going to do my other band. You know what I mean? And Clown didn't really, from my understanding, like him dividing his attention. Slipknot's Clown's baby. It has been he's a founder, you know what I mean? It really is. It still is to this day, as we'll talk about. And Jim went with them. So there was a period of time whenever Corey resurrected Stone Sour that Slipknot was in a questionable state. Let's put it like that, as to whether or not they would
Okay.
actually ever return or not.
Right.
But if in my opinion, it's probably that allowance of going and pursuing another creative avenue that allowed him to come back refreshed to Slipknot.
Right. Right.
Because Stone
Right.
Sour and Slipknot are very different bands. I mean, they are.
Exactly. Exactly. Both have probably transitioned. I haven't listened to it now. I haven't listened to a lot of those Stone Sour. I know a few of them. I have the one record, but I just
I have the
Bother.
first record. I have the first one.
Yeah.
And then I know they did the song like Through the Glass or whatever. Like I really like that song.
Yeah.
But I don't think I own that album.
Yep.
I just like that song.
No. So the reason I brought that up is because, like I said, and Mike said, there's a huge transition from the first two albums to this third album. It's a little less heavy.
Yep.
A lot
they have
less
some
heavy.
softer songs
and a
on
little
there. Like
softer songs.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Sorry.
Vermilion 2's
Part
dude,
2,
which is a
yeah.
wonderful song. It's so good.
Yeah, love that song. That
Yep.
reminds me exactly. That might as well be on a Stone Sour. That's reminding me exactly like Bother. And I feel like a little bit more radio friendly,
Yes.
right?
They're
Like all the rock stations. It wasn't as crazy heavy. You could play it and the average person would enjoy it, like
Yep.
it. Like Duality is like huge. Like and that was
oh man,
played constantly on our
you couldn't get
on
away
our
from
rock
that
station.
song. Yeah. So
I'm not complaining, but
no,
that
of
song was
course.
played a lot. It still is probably.
And that's why I was kind of brought up the point of like the sophomore album, Iowa, was really kind of like a transition period where by the time they hit volume 3, like what you just said right there about like a more radio friendly songs, they're still heavy.
Right.
Don't get me wrong. I'm not saying Slipknot's always been heavy, but from volume 3 on, there's radio friendly songs.
Yes.
Yep.
And the first two didn't really care about that.
They really didn't.
No.
They didn't. And I don't feel like the band cared about
So,
it that much.
Right. And whether or not that was their thing or not, I don't know, unless you know, like that was what their goal was, is to make it a little bit or whatever. But I feel like, I don't know, but I just thought it was kind of Stone Sour rubbing off on Slipknot is how I've kind of, especially for the next album, I kind of thought. I've heard a lot, I don't know, I've heard a lot of people kind of say that, like, man, it's just like, it's a lot like Stone Sour. It's nowhere near like the first two albums. And you know what I mean? Like, I feel like it rubbed off a little, which is fine. I'm not complaining
I think,
or anything, but you can tell the difference. Like that,
fans need to realize like the absolute vocal abuse that Corey Taylor goes through, and the physical abuse that these guys put themselves through, you know, touring.
Right.
Like,
yeah,
I'm sorry, but they're not getting younger. You know, nobody is. So as a band like this gets older, they're gonna start slowing down a little bit, or they're going to literally break in half and like tear their throat. Like, and I like that's like not even a joke. Like doing this to that excess, you can tear your throat, your vocal cords. Like you've got to start backing off a little bit.
I watched. I don't know all their names again. I'm sorry. I know we're doing a podcast on this. I don't know all of them by name.
No,
but whoever's got the note, I think it's whoever's got the long nose.
Chris Fain.
Okay, Chris. The one concert I saw, he had a broken leg.
Yeah.
He had a cast on and was crawling around the stage.
Yep.
He jumped off of one of the platforms. You'll see when Mike plays the video. He jumped off the thing, broke his damn foot or leg or whatever, and then kept touring. Like,
are you sure that wasn't Sid, the DJ?
Maybe it was,
because I know. I'm not.
I could be wrong.
I know they've several of them. Have
I could be wrong.
Physical injuries.
No, I don't remember.
But I do know that Sid is notorious for jumping off of high things. And there's a video.
Maybe it was
I didn't grab the video of him breaking his legs. I forgot that one. You'll have to forgive me.
I didn't bring it. Yeah, I didn't bring it before.
But there is.
But yeah, like
there's a video of him jumping and like snapping his ankle. and then continuing to perform.
Yeah,
So,
he just crawled around. He just crawled around and kept
yep,
climbing on shit and whatever.
just doing
Like
Slipknot things.
yeah, exactly. But like you said, being younger, you can do that shit. And now, I I was putting groceries in the truck tonight and I hurt my back. Like, what the fuck? Like,
Yeah.
like
Yeah. Listen, you're talking to a guy who literally, okay, my left hand right here, bottle of ibuprofen, okay?
right? Like, yeah, getting older, it's not great.
Getting older sucks.
So yeah, I can see where they're gonna slow down and like
It's gonna
exactly.
happen. It has to happen.
Exactly.
If we want to
This
continue
is
to
huge.
have
True story. I did. I'm like, I'm gonna have to do the show tonight wearing a back brace. I did. I'm not right now. I'm like, God damn it!
Yep.
Hurt my back.
Well,
Anyway,
as I was doing my research, one of the documentaries, and it was like showing. This is a more recent documentary that it was showing all of them going around like talking about like how it used to be, and they're like, oh, like when we first got started, like this room right here was about the size that we all had to get ready in. And he's like, and we would literally like come backstage and we would sleep in this room, we would eat in this room, and now like they all have like different, there's like they've got like their own bathroom, and they like all the like the different cases and different areas and stuff. Like they don't live that life anymore, but they're like going through their personal belongings. And Sid, the guy who's notorious for jumping off of everything, actually like opens his trunk and he's like, these are my knee braces. Like, yeah, I gotta wear these every night. And then he's like, and these right here, as soon as we're off stage, they get filled with ice, and I'm sitting with ice on my knees. Like, yeah, these guys they're torn up, man.
I feel you.
They are torn up.
Well, yeah.
But they're still going hard. That's the thing is like,
oh my god, yeah,
yeah.
I just saw him last year. It was,
and it was wild,
fucking
right?
crazy.
Yeah.
Corey's voice was gone. He said that. He's like, man, I'm sorry, but I'm giving her. Like, you guys are nuts, man.
They are, but they give it their all every single time. So,
absolutely. Yeah, I don't know. I love 3. That's when I came in on it, and there's so many good songs, and I know they're a little bit less heavy, but like, I like the whole. Honestly, Vermilion, the regular Vermilion, is one I don't like.
Oh, really? See,
that might
I
be
like
the one
both
song. That's the one I don't like. I like every other song.
Okay.
That whole album, I like.
I also like the whole album, but I also do like Vermilion. So I like the whole album. I really do. I think, like I said, I really appreciate that is like I feel like that's the first time that they settled in as the Slipknot that we kind of know today.
Right.
So minus the lineup changes we'll go through later on. So.
Right.
So yeah, but no, Volume 3, amazing.
No, album.
But unfortunately, that brings us to what is probably my least favorite album.
I've heard that a lot.
All Hope Is Gone, which there's kind of, but even a lot of the band members say it's their least favorite album.
Yeah. Well, 1, 2, and 3 were so good, and then you're like, now what? Or again, I think it feels like a lot of Stone Sour on this album. But
here is where I can take the reins back, if you don't mind, and give a little bit of background.
Absolutely.
Here.
Absolutely.
All Hope Is Gone kind of covers a dark chapter of Slipknot history, of addiction. You have 3 very successful albums, like we said. They came out. Now we're reaching the 8-9 year mark. We've had 3 extremely successful albums. Yeah, you're good. Do you want me to stop?
No, keep going.
Okay, all right. So like, we've gone from nothing to extreme success, and with in the industries that they're in, with the entertainment industry, major success comes oftentimes with the downfall of, substance abuse. The party.
I got a ton of money now.
I have a ton of money now. What do I do? Well, I'm always depressed, and you always done drugs, but now I can do more drugs, and well, look at all
Right.
this alcohol I have, So
Right.
even and I think it was clown, like they were all out together somewhere, and they saw, like, they were out like just goofing around or whatever, and like on an archway somebody had written "all hope is gone" on like an archway, and that's where they got the album name. And I think clown like
Okay.
even says, he's like, I fucking hate the title of that album because it's how we felt at that time, and it's like a reminder, you know what I mean, of like how the
Right.
band felt at that time writing that music. Like they were in bad shape, just with everything they were doing. Um,
Right.
so it's definitely, I feel like the songs are a little bit weaker. As far as like the substance of the song, they still have good songs on there. I think Psychosocial, I believe, was on there. Great song.
Psychosocial is a good one. That one's on a Guitar Hero.
Is that
Good
okay?
one for drums.
Good one for
Guitar Hero
drums.
drums.
um,
Yeah.
but again, it was an album that they felt a little off, in my opinion.
Right.
Unfortunately, yeah, exactly, JC. Musicians, it happens a lot. It really does. Um, do you have a lot to say on All Hope Is Gone, or anything do you want to chip in on? Because I don't have a lot besides that, except
Yeah.
for what happens before the next album.
I think the easiest way to explain it for me is I like the album, but
Mhm.
it doesn't feel like a Slipknot album.
It feels forced.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Like I
that's
like the songs.
me too.
I like the songs and but it doesn't feel like Slipknot. Yeah.
Right. I agree.
Forced, I guess. Yeah.
Yep.
Like if you were to tell me it's not them, right? And just let me listen to it, I could. Honestly, I would think it was Stone Sour, like a later Stone Sour album, because I know I keep saying that, but
No,
like
but you're good.
Stone Sour started pretty heavy with Corey going pretty deep and a little bit more screaming and that kind of stuff, and then that transitioned a bit too, right, to a little less,
Yep.
and like you said, like Through the Glass and
Yep.
like those are like and Bother, and it started to slow down a little bit,
Yeah.
and this just seemed like either way more radio or way more Stone Sour, so it doesn't have the heaviness.
Yeah.
There's still good songs, but it's just like I don't know. So I there's some on here like Snuff is actually like I think that's the slower one, right?
Snuff
Is slower.
Yes.
Yeah, like I think that's a cool song.
Who
And
I believe Paul Gray. Still again, we're still at the original lineup of Slipknot. I don't know if Paul Gray helped write Snuff, or if it was just like one of his favorite songs that he ever did, or that Slipknot did. Yeah, that was like one. From what I remember, that's why Corey still plays Snuff, is for Paul.
okay.
For Paul. Yeah.
Nice. That's nice. Yeah, I know. I like that one. Like they play Sulphur live. Sulphur live is awesome. Like that's
It's a good,
cool.
yeah. Yep.
They
Yep.
they
I
still
forgot
throw
Sulphur
that
was on
one
that
in,
one.
and
Okay.
like those Dead Memories.
Yep. Dead
Those
Memories,
ones are all kind of.
Dead
I don't know about a lot of the other
Memories
ones.
is
There were some
probably my favorite music video.
nice.
I love
I
the
haven't seen
music
it
video.
before, like I said before.
No, it's really good. I think that's one of my
Nice.
favorite music videos that Slipknot ever did. And but it's funny because it kind of shows like the whole video is like Corey digging a hole and dropping down in it, and he goes through all these rooms, and every room that he goes through, like a different member is in there, and it almost like represents, like, I don't know if it's the right term for it, but it almost seems like they each represent different sins that he's passing through. You could tell there's like lust, you could tell there's anger, like all these different things that he's like walking through in the video. So I don't know, it was just a video that I always really liked, and I kind of liked Corey Taylor's mask at the time too. It was another one of the pretty drastic shifts in the mask. Yeah, there it is right there, that mask.
Is that the one?
I'm pretty
Yeah,
sure
okay.
that's the one. He might have had a
It's
similar,
the white, like
yeah.
the white one with the top of his
Yeah.
head's open, right? Like you
Yeah.
can see his hair and
his head could finally breathe.
breathe.
Yes, but yeah, so my favorite music video comes from that as well. But
Nice.
But yeah, it was a weird time for Slipknot. It was a time of battling a lot of demons, and honestly, I think again digging through the memory banks here, but I think it was just a period of time of people not getting along and making an album based off of contractual obligations. Like, well, we've got to do a fucking album, so
Yeah.
let's go. And I think that a lot of I'm sorry, yeah, All Hope Is Gone. I don't even think they were together when they recorded the
I heard that.
parts. That they were
I heard that.
completely separate.
That's crazy.
Okay, my
Yeah.
dog is very angry at me right now. Molly, can you go see mom? I'm sorry. She wants me to play with her baby right now. All right, she's desperate.
What's wrong? That's fine.
She wants my attention. Go play with mom, okay?
Play with me.
And she's like, no, I brought it to you. But
Where's the doggy emotes? Who's got dog emotes? Let's see him.
I know she does, Miss Dirty. I know.
The chat alive?
Yeah.
Who's
chat.
got puppy emotes? Let's see him.
Let's get those
Let's
puppy
see 'em.
emotes.
I got some puppy emotes. Let's go.
I don't think I do. I only have global emotes because I'm currently logged in as between two streamers.
This one's a given one. Yeah, those ones. I got so many from hype trains and stuff. There's the ton. Here we go. I'm gonna drop all my dog emotes. What's her name? Molly?
Molly.
These are all for Molly.
Molly, you're getting the emotes.
That's right. There we go. Nice. Cool.
So yeah. Anyways,
Shout out to all the puppers.
Thank you guys. Molly, do you feel better? Oh, our baby girl. So, anyways, yeah, all hope is gone. It felt like all hope is gone. Like, let's face it, like you said, it didn't feel like Slipknot. It was kind of like, what happens now?
I know. That is crazy. You kind of touched on it there. But can you imagine? I can imagine. I'm sorry, like recording a whole album not together.
Yeah.
Like somebody did like
yep.
Whoever like Joey did all his drumming. Joey, you know what I mean? You just record the drumming, and then all the other guys come in and like do the whatever, do the guitar, and then whoever just like put like Corey sings, like everybody did 9 fucking people.
Yeah.
Did the whole album separately, and then somebody just mashed it all together and made the songs. Like
it's insane.
Wild.
But it explains it though. It explains why it felt the way it did. You know what I mean? Like
True.
Once you understand what the band was going through at the time, the members were going through at the time, and then how the album sounded, and like once you understand all that part, you're like, okay, yeah, I get it. I get it. I see.
I just don't know not logistically, but like how do you make anything? How do you make any kind of like write music without like talking to each other or like playing a little bit and be like, no, like do that a little. That's how I imagine you'd write it out.
You imagine that you're sitting in the same room as guys. Yeah. Making suggestions to each other.
Or chord, or why don't you do the fucking symbol? Or I don't know. You evolve it. I can't imagine just writing it and being like.
So what you have to think of happens then is it's all in the hands of the producer that's there. And like, I tried to do this a little bit differently. You know what I mean? It's a guy who's not even Slipknot making the calls on how Slipknot needs to do their music. Slipknot. Yeah, it's fucking insane, man. So, unfortunately, that leads us to a sad time for Slipknot, where founding member and bass guitar player Paul Gray was found in a hotel room overdosed. And that was the first real big hit. There's always, they've always been little quarrels, little times they're not talking to each other and whatnot, blah, blah, blah. But, before the Gray chapter, so sometime during All Hope Is Gone's shenanigans, after the release, Paul Gray dies. And everybody says that Paul was like the heart of the band. Like they said that like what he represented was everybody's love. No matter what, Paul brought everybody back together. and he was
Wow.
like that guy for Slipknot. And so
Right.
now
When you lose
Paul,
that,
yeah, like that brought everybody. He in an interview that I was listening to after he passed, he said that they all got together and like like survivor's guilt is, you know what I mean, like somebody survives a shooting where a bunch of other people died,
right.
they're like as a group, like we all had like survivor's guilt, like we
Right.
all participated in all of this shit, and we all saw all this, everybody doing all their stupid shit and everything going on, and now Paul's
Right.
dead. And like they're just like
Right.
sitting in a room like what the fuck do we do? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like not what do we do, but like what did we do? Like everybody's
Right.
questioning, like, should we have said something more? We saw this, we like it hits them really hard when Paul dies.
Yeah.
And
I remember watching the press conference thing that they did. They all sat there. They didn't have any other masks on, right? I
yep,
believe it was the whole band and his wife,
yep,
I believe, and like they all kind of talked and did their whole thing. And that was
it's
tough.
crazy.
It's crazy.
And like you could, but it's like obviously you don't want to see anybody die, but for that's probably what brought Slipknot back.
Yeah.
Because had something drastic not happened, they probably would have continued on the same path until it did happen. You know what I mean? Like they were going to continue right down that road.
It was inevitable.
Speculating, obviously, I don't know for any facts, but like it was going to continue on a path until something drastic happened to change it.
Right.
And so that brings us to point 5, the gray chapter. And honestly, it felt like Slipknot again. This is what I'll have to say. It definitely felt like they came back together. Songs like "The Devil and I," "Kill Pop," "Goodbye," the negative one. Just
Custer is one of my favorite songs.
oh yeah, Custer. Absolutely.
Just for if I'm having a bad day at work or something, on the drive home, I cannot turn that song up loud enough.
Yep.
That is maybe that's not healthy, but that's just the way. That's the way I deal with having a bad day. Is I listen to music as loud as I fucking can and scream the lyrics. And that's one of my go-tos.
Yep.
Because that just gets it all out, man.
Yeah,
and that is a crazy one to see live too.
Oh yeah.
My god. I remember going to like the third time I saw them walking out, and the one guy just screaming the lyrics and just like, yeah. So good.
But we do have to again, we do have to note that this is where another loss in the band happens too.
Right.
I'm pretty positive that Joey Jordison recorded everything for the album, The Gray Chapter, but after recording and either before touring or somewhere during touring or whatever, he was let go from the band.
Let go.
He was fired. Joey Jordison was fired. And the reasoning was always very unclear. But Joey Jordison was also a band member in another one of my favorite bands, the Murder Dolls, who only released 2 albums with him. I'm a big fan of their lead singer, Wednesday 13. But what ended up happening, the vague responses that have been released as to Joey's firing is that he was on a path that nobody else wanted to follow. So what they insinuate, what it seems like they make it seem like, is Joey was continuing that party life. And they were getting away from it. Paul just died, dude. And like nobody wanted that anymore to be a part of the band. And so he was continuing those things. And here's where
that might have been his way of dealing with losing Paul.
Well, there was other issues going on with Joey as well. Whether the band knew about it or not, Joey was. I forget the name. Hold on. Joey had medical issues of his own.
Oh, okay.
Um, he he ended up with a neurological disease that it had cost him the use of his legs. He was having a lot of pain. I can't find what was the disease. Transverse myelitis is what it was called. So he
Okay.
was losing some of his physical ability to actually perform. But again,
Okay.
I don't know how much. Nobody's ever really said how much of that he disclosed to the band. But he was having
Okay.
these medical issues and losing physical ability. So on top of one of his best friends and founding members of the band dying, and also declining in his own physical health, he was still very deep in battling addiction of
Rough go.
alcoholism and pretty heavy drugs from, again, the speculation that's out there.
Yep.
So yeah, so that's kind of what happened with Joey. Is he was going down that path. The rest of the band, again, I like I said, I don't know what they knew, but they decided that they had to part ways with him, and so then they brought in their next bass player and their next drummer to finish the touring of the Gray Chapter. Obviously, they had another bass player. I think they just brought in a substitute bass player for the recording of the Gray Chapter, but then they actually had
Okay.
somebody join in for touring who's been with them ever since.
Okay. Gotcha.
Anyway, sorry. I'm just going off on my random tangents as we come across those particular
No
areas in
sorries.
time. But so
No sorries.
now we are at the Gray Chapter. With the touring portion, we have two new members of the band who leaves us now with only one founding member being Clown.
Right.
So, anyways, Great Chapter. Like you said, amazing song, dude. Like you remind me of Custer. Like, goddamn that fucking song. I love that
Oh,
song.
that's my go-to.
One of my favorites off of this album for a long time was actually Kill Pop. I really liked that song. I don't know,
Yep.
like it clicked with me. It was. I don't want to say it because it sounds very anti Slipknot, but it was catchy. You know, like I don't think I've ever said
Yeah. Yeah.
anything about Slipknot is catchy, but Kill Pop was really catchy.
Yeah. No, not catchy. Yeah.
Yeah,
No. They're.
right.
Yeah. The negative one,
Yeah,
even AOV.
yep,
Yeah, it definitely felt like Slipknot again.
it did.
Right. Like it got heavier again. Still with a little bit of just like it was a balance. It was almost a balance of the first
Yeah,
all the other albums, the first whatever albums.
yep.
You know, it some of them hit hard and you were like, damn, that's awesome. And then some of it was still just a little calmer or whatever, a little just not as heavy, and it
But
was just a balance. It was a good balance.
the ones that hit hard felt like it was a return to their roots, man. Like
Yeah.
I was like, damn, this is like
You're
first
like,
album
whoa.
hard, you know? Like,
Yeah.
damn, like
Yeah.
we're back at it now, you know?
Yeah.
But
Exactly.
which makes sense though, whenever you think about the things that have happened. Like
Right.
some of this anger from that they made the first album with is resurfacing. You know what I mean? And like there's some serious emotion and just rawness being put into the lyrics in the album. So Great Chapter
Right.
was very unfortunate circumstances surrounding the album, but damn, like it was a return to form. It was a really good album.
What is the one that's about Paul pretty much? Is that Goodbye?
I think so, yeah.
That makes sense.
I'm
I
pretty
can
sure Goodbye is, yeah.
roughly remember that. I roughly remember one of them. You can tell he's singing about
Yeah.
Paul. So.
And speculation is that the song The Negative One is about Joey.
Oh, there you
Yeah,
go.
a little dig at old Joey there. So, like I said, it was pretty. You know, obviously he was fired. There was a lot of feelings during that time. So there was a lot of fighting between Joey and from what I don't know if they ever resolved their issues, but what I understood is because Joey Jordison has now passed. He died from, you know, He was sick, but I still believe he passed due to I don't know if it was an overdose or if it was complications due to his drug use. But
Okay.
Joey passed, and I don't think, from what I understand, none of them ever really got together and were able to reconcile their differences and say goodbye or anything like that. So a lot of
Oh yeah.
lot of
Okay.
hardship there. So
Yeah.
so now on to the next one. But before we get to the next album, we have another Slipknot member leaving. So this is the last one. All right. Chris Fain, the one with the long nose, fired from the
Okay.
band.
Okay.
Technically listed as fired, but I believe there were legal issues behind the scenes, and Chris filed a lawsuit against Slipknot while he was still a member, I believe, because at a certain point in the early stages of Slipknot, certain members, being Corey and Clown, recognized the signs of success and established it as more of a business. They essentially turned Slipknot into a business in order to make money. Unfortunately,
Okay.
the split amongst the band members is not very equal. Corey and
Okay.
Clown being the two that will receive that do receive a majority of the income for the band. Well, as you can guess, other people don't like that particularly.
I could see that.
A lot of the guys, like, we've got Jim Root, we've got Mick Thompson that are still there, the guitar players. I've never heard them say anything on the matter. Then you have the other three new members. Obviously, they're not going to have much to say about it. They came into the show kind of late. And then
Right.
Sid. So, again, another kind of quiet party in the whole thing. But Chris's lawsuit pretty much states that a lot of this was done behind everybody's backs. They weren't being told all the details about them setting up all of the behind the scenes stuff, and therefore getting to a point that they'll receive most of the income. Again, I don't know the details on it. I don't know income splits or anything like that. The validity of it. But Chris was obviously unhappy with how things were handled and left the band, in which was then replaced with Tortilla Face or Tortilla Mask or whatever everybody fucking calls him, because his mask looks like tortilla shells. So but yeah, so that's the last member we have that has left. That's kind of the last behind the scenes stuff, I believe, that I have for the band. But that gets us to this point of recording, releasing We Are Not Your Kind, which you already said it earlier. There was 5 years.
There's a gap between 5 years. Okay.
Yep.
Between the Gray chapter and this, there was a gap.
And between All Hope Is Gone and the Gray chapter, there was a 6-year gap. So again, loss of members, behind the scenes turmoil, all that kind of stuff, and then resolving took about 6 years. So, but yes, between the Gray chapter and We Are Not Your Kind, we have now gone 5 more years. We're in 2019 now. So we're into recent Slipknot now.
We're getting close. Yeah.
We're getting close. We're getting there. I would say my favorite 2 songs off of this album would be Solway Firth and Nero Forte. Love those 2, man.
Yeah. I feel those are the bigger ones that kind of dropped.
Yep. Unsainted was good too. I liked Unsainted when it first came out, but it didn't stay in my favorite.
Yeah. I'm not gonna lie. When this one came out and the next one, which was recent, I had a lot of other albums come out that I wanted to listen to and be into.
Yeah.
So when these came out, I kind of got them and downloaded them and then threw them into like big playlists that I had going with other albums that I wanted to listen to at the same time.
Yeah.
So for these next two, I haven't been able to I haven't gotten like in depth.
Yeah.
And I feel like I haven't gotten to enjoy them as much as I probably would have the 3 and All Hope Is Gone and whatever, because they've just blended for me. So I feel bad saying that, but like I know the songs, but I can't pick out specifics because I haven't sat and just listened to them as much as like Volume 3. Like I listened to Volume 3 start to finish more times than I can count. And I just haven't done that with these last two, and I feel bad, but anyway.
Well, it's kind of funny because
I want to say A Liar's Funeral was a pretty A Liar's Funeral, I say, was pretty good. Like that was a good one that I remember. They're both great out. Like they're both
good albums.
I've just always kind of thrown them on and listened to them, and I'm sure if I listened to it more or like whatever, I'd be like, oh yeah.
Well, it's funny because
I remember Spiders being cool too. Spiders.
You and I feel the same about these last two albums. I like the albums. I've heard them both through completely. I have.
Yep.
But they're not I've done that too. Regulars on my playlist. They're really not like they're just like they exist. And I'm like, oh, okay. Yeah, I like this song. But it's interesting because this starting with We Are Not Your Kind, this was the first time that Corey Taylor wasn't all that involved in the writing process, particularly for We Are Not Your Kind. Clown and guitar player Jim Root were the primary writers on that album. Because Corey was still out with Stone Sour promoting their 6th album at this point. So at that point, Stone Sour has caught up to Slipknot in how many albums they've put out. So now, I mean, hell, Corey Taylor has 2 bands in the last 20 years. He's put out 12 albums altogether, besides the solo stuff, and
touring constantly,
in constant touring. Yeah. So we were commenting on that earlier about like, when do they have time for all of this kind of stuff? It's crazy.
Yeah.
But whenever Corey Taylor did come in, he did replace a lot of the lyrics they had wrote, but the music was mostly written and taken care of and done. So he just didn't have a lot to do with the actual writing process, but lyrics are still Corey Taylor. So yeah, like I don't know, like I really do. It's funny knowing that now, before we started over the last few weeks here, really getting in depth and everything, I didn't know that particular part, that the writing was kind of, mostly on Jim and Clown, which is funny because I've always, whenever I first heard all the stuff off We Are Not Your Kind, I thought the guitar parts were better than ever.
Okay.
So I guess that makes sense that one of your guitar players is now becoming like one of the main writers, that the guitar parts are really shining, and not like better, but like I really, obviously I said earlier, I really like the heavy stuff, but I feel like this is really where they started to shine as far as like creativity on the guitar. And like, I feel like they did a really good job. I can think of Nero Forte specifically.
Yeah, you definitely
really good.
Yeah. Yeah, and like the Gray chapter was cool, but everybody kind of, I feel like everybody kind of knew that was for Paul.
Yep.
And that was like a grieving album for a lot of them and stuff like that. And then, like you said, they kind of, I don't know if they toured as much then, because
I don't think they did
after that one. But so it was like 5 years of like grieving Paul and stuff. You know what I mean? They were not as out there. And then this album dropped, and then I remember them doing like Jimmy Kimmel.
Yeah, I know, right?
I don't know if you ever saw that.
Yes.
Did you see that?
Yeah.
Like they were outside on the street on a stage. You can look that up. Like, and they play Jamie. You don't have to. I just mean.
No. I know what you mean. Yeah.
And they do the outside stage with like a small venue, and it's like they're back, and like it was kind of nice to see. Like they had new masks. They have new masks every freaking album or whatever.
Most of them, yeah.
But like. It's new masks. They got cool new like trench coat, like Corey's in like this cool trench coat
Oh,
outfit, like this whole thing. They're all like black.
I loved the outfits at that time. They were fucking awesome.
Yeah, like it was like a cool, like wider white mask, like he had big cheeks or whatever.
Well, particularly, I liked their attire.
Oh, the get-ups, yeah.
His mask, I don't know if I liked it all that much during that time. I thought
it was just different. It was
weird.
just like
different. Very
it's
different.
neat to see them again. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like it's been a long time. We all feel bad that you lost Paul, and we can't imagine what you all been through. Sweet new album. You know, going live again and doing Jimmy Kimmel. That's all cool. And it was like, okay, like, because everybody was like, what the fuck is going to happen now after Paul?
Yep.
You know?
Yep.
And it felt like they kind of rebirthed again a little. It was kind of like, okay, there's new members, new music.
So the last time
new math as always. And,
the last time I saw them live was on tour for the Gray Chapter.
Okay.
It was after Paul had passed, before Joey and Chris had left. So the only original missing at the time was Paul. And we talked about this too, that it was really cool. So I saw them I lived in Cedar Rapids, Iowa at the time, which is only like a couple of hours from Des Moines. And
seeing them from their hometown must be fucked.
Dude, all right. So
I've seen them, and I can't imagine being in a hometown, man.
Well, and Corey Taylor's originally from a town called Waterloo, which was only 45 minutes north of where I lived. So like,
wow,
I lived in their area, you know? And so like when they came out, and Hatebreed opened for him, by the way, which was, oh my God, like what a fucking show, dude. There was no opening bands. It was Hatebreed and then Slipknot. And it was just a night of fucking brutality. And
Jesus Christ.
But Corey Taylor came out there, and the first thing, you know, they played the first song, you know what I mean? They come out just fucking rocking. They had the fucking pyrotechnics going and blowing up everywhere. And in between first song and the second song, he laid it out there. He's like, listen, he's like, this is fucking Cedar Rapids. Most of our first shows happen here. He's like, this is fucking homecoming time. And they went off for the rest of the fucking night. And then they left the stage.
That's what I mean. Like, oh,
dude, the end of the stage, they left. And then they came back on the stage and they're like, no, fuck that. We ain't done yet. And they played like 4 more fucking songs, dude. It got so late of them playing. Like, dude, you could tell the energy they had. But then at the end, why one of the reasons I bring up that, you know, that this happened shortly after Paul's passing, is in the back the whole time they had Paul's guitar with the mask, or Paul's bass with the mask on it. And at the end of the show, man, everybody got up there, everybody walked up to that guitar, and it was almost like, you know what I mean, like paying your respects. Like they went up there, and because we keep saying that it kind of brought them together, and even Mrs. Huey said like he kind of brought them back together again in a way, you know, like that's what it seemed like, you know what I mean? Like they all went up there and paid their respects to like a fallen brother, and then left the stage. You know, it was wild to see, man. It sucked seeing them without Paul. But they came out there, and it was Slipknot again. It was my Slipknot again, you know? So, anyways.
I just can't imagine. I know we're not at the live.
I know we're not. That's why I hesitated to share that story, but I had to.
But I just can't imagine seeing that. Like, you're close to where they're from. That would be...
Oh, man.
Everybody can laugh at me right now, but, like, I got to see... It's like my second concert. I'm from... Southern Ontario near Detroit. I got to see Eminem in Detroit.
Okay.
Sold out Comerica Park where the Tigers play. Gamer will know what I'm talking about. Sold out, like, and it was an all-day thing. It was like everybody, all of them. It was like Lil Jon, the East Side Boys, 50 Cent, D12, all of them. And Eminem.
Wasn't Eminem in D12?
Yeah,
wasn't he a part of that?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Sorry, I'm not too up on my rap music, but
like that was a crazy show.
Yeah.
Eminem in Detroit, sold out Comerica, the fireworks and the anyway, that was nuts. And I can't imagine seeing Slipknot in their hometown. Like the energy of the crowd and the people would have been The energy of the crowd and the people at a live Slipknot show anywhere is nuts.
It's
But
insane.
like,
Yeah.
I just can't imagine being like that. Would be something else.
I was
Sorry.
absolutely exhausted after that show.
Like,
Just like
yeah,
completely exhausted because Slipknot put everything they had into it, and that crowd
exactly.
put everything they had into it. As soon
Exactly.
as
There's
he
nothing.
called that a homecoming show, dude, everybody was just like,
Yeah.
boo, you know, it was
Yeah.
crazy
Oh, yeah.
the whole night. So
Oh,
anyway, yeah, for sure, man.
we'll get to the live stuff, but
We'll get to live stuff. I kind of detoured on that one.
That's okay.
Because we kind of went backwards in the album because we kind of already talked about We Are Not Your Kind now.
Yep.
Hi, Molly. Which brings us fittingly to the album that just released in 2022, The End So Far. Which I have to admit, I have listened
This is like
to
September. Like,
yeah,
this is like not long ago. This is like a few, 8 months ago.
I honestly have not. I like The Dying Song is about the only one that I'm that familiar with. I've listened to the album, but the only like one I could recognize, maybe Yen. I think I recognize
Christo.
Yen as well. But Christo, did you guys talk about Joey? Of course we talked about Joey. Well, I talked about Joey pretty extensively. But yeah,
like
Medicine for the Dead. Medicine for the Dead is another one that I really like too. So
I feel like the only one that I kind of like when the album dropped, I think they dropped the music video for Yen.
Yeah.
Right away.
Okay. See, I thought they released
I think that's
the Dying
kinda...
song first, but I could be wrong.
Oh, they might have. I don't know. I remember seeing Yen, the music video, and I was like, okay, they brought me. Yeah. Oh no, you're right. The Dying song. Yeah. Okay. Sorry. But yeah, like I'm looking at this song list, and I can't pick one of them out right now because again, like,
I know, right?
It was only 8 months ago, and
it's so new.
Yeah, I've just thrown it into playlists and listened to it, but I can't pick anything out really.
It's just crazy to me though.
Not that it's a bad album.
None of them are bad albums. Not a single one of them. Even whenever
I just haven't
had
time to
listen. Going through severe depression and issues, was it a bad album? None of them are bad albums. You know, but I'm with you. Which
I just haven't had time to like listen to it enough, you know.
And it's crazy because like I remember back in the day when Slipknot albums would release, I'd be like the day of, like, oh, I'm gonna know all of these songs, you know. And now like I've kind of gotten to this point with them to where like, yeah, I'm just like I catch it when I can. That's just kind of.
I honestly find like I find I don't have time to just sit and listen to music.
We are getting older.
Take it in. You know what I mean?
We have other shit going on. Yes.
I find that I usually, like when I'm cutting the grass.
Yeah.
I used to live further away from work.
Yep.
I used to live a little further away from work, right? And that would be the time that I'd sit and listen to a lot of this stuff. You know what I mean? I don't just sit in the house and listen to music. Yeah. I do sometimes. Like we have a record player, my wife and I, and Mrs. Hugh and I will listen to some stuff, but we're not sitting on the couch listening to Slipknot together. We're listening to nicer stuff and whatever.
Come on.
You know,
just go in.
People equal shit.
Go in and turn on some people equal shit and hang out. You know.
Yeah, drinking music. So I'm into everything, man. Like I know I got all this stuff, but like I listen to everything from Kelly Clarkson to Slipknot. You know what I mean? I have no problem admitting that. Like I listen to everything, man. So
yeah,
I like a lot of different music, and so that's kind of what I was getting at with recently of these last two albums. There's been so much I'm out that I just haven't had the time to just sit and like only listen to this. There was a time where like I said, Volume 3, when Volume 3 came out, that's all I listened to on repeat, like constantly, and I just don't. Like I said, I used to live a little further from work, and I'd listen to this stuff more. And now I find like I'm around the corner now.
Yeah.
And then when I'm working or doing yard work and that kind of stuff, I'll have my headphones on and I'm listening to it, but I'm not like taking it in. Mrs. Huey, maybe we'll have to do some morning coffee people once in a while.
That
Maybe we
comment
gotta throw
cracks
some
me up.
Slipknot on.
Oh, I want to know what other
Maybe we
chat
can
on
do that.
Twitch could ever have the comment morning coffee and people equal shit. Oh, that's great.
But like, that's the thing, right? Is like I've like worked outside, like I've built,
Yep.
building a fence or building this or that, and I'll just crank this music. But like, you're not like taking in the lyrics and like
Yeah.
feeling it with them, and learning the lyrics and singing it along. Like I found there's either so tomorrow. That's what we're doing tomorrow morning. I feel like there's just so much. Like I said, I've made like, oh, I want to get that album and that album and that album, that album,
Yeah.
and then I just mash them all together. I get to listen to all of it, and I don't take it in as
Yeah.
individual things anymore.
Yep.
Just anyway.
Well, and it's weird because we've kind of reached that point where we're at the same way with those albums that it is kind of is what it is. We catch it as we can, and then
Yeah.
like even like we discussed earlier, like Corey Taylor is kind of getting out of the writing process, and then I spoke with you the other day about like the state of the band and where they're at and where they go from here, and like Corey Taylor focuses on his solo stuff right now, and even said that like in the interview he said Slipknot is Sean's baby. That's his. He goes in, he punches in, he records, and he punches out. So it's like, man,
Yeah.
like we kind of have to
That's
ask
a little
ourselves.
scary.
It is.
Yeah.
I mean, he's
where is it
supposed
going?
Yeah, where is it? So like that's the big question I think right now is, are they because I don't feel like everybody in the band is punched out like that. I feel like this is Sean's thing, like Clown is always going to be 100% in a Slipknot. I feel like a lot of members probably are 100% in, but like, where do you go from there when not every member is 100% in and just punching the clock?
Yeah.
So we just got an album release. So are we just doing contractual obligations now? Or
Coasting through,
are we just coasting through and bringing in a paycheck? And like I said, I don't think that every band member feels that way. Jay Weinberg, the drummer, has dreamed about being in Slipknot since he was a kid. He dressed up as Corey and met.
Do you have that?
I
picture?
don't have the picture. I forgot to copy it. You know what? Actually, hold on. I do. Hold on.
You sent it to me there.
Talk to the chat while I do this.
Talk to the chat.
I don't know.
So I will say though that like I know we talked about it, and I feel like I'm explaining it poorly. That like I don't care as much about the last two albums. It's more like I think I looked it up when the album was dropping and like put it in my phone like I knew I was getting them and listening to them, and that was without a doubt because I'm a fan, right? And it's not that I don't like them or anything like that. I knew it was happening because I'm a fan and I'm going to listen, but like it just, like I said, it's just time, and the way to listen to music now is just changed.
Well, I mean, that's just a part of us getting older. You know what I mean? Like we're not going to be able to just drop what we're doing and listen to albums.
And it's staying up to date and that too. Like I said, I just got to see them last.
All right, there we go, chat.
I gotta pull it up.
So chat, the image that I just put on here, on the left hand side, the guy in the middle is the drummer for one of the Tonight shows. I think it was David Letterman, and on the left picture, that's his son Jay Weinberg, dressed. No, that's not Joey. That's not Joey. On the far left, dressed up as Corey, is Jay Weinberg, his son, meeting Jim Root when Slipknot performed on David Letterman. And then on the right hand side, that's Jay as the drummer for Slipknot now. He replaced Joey, and he's, they recreated the picture however many years later. But it's just so cool that this kid meeting like his favorite band is now in his in that band, which kind of goes back to Corey's thing too, where like he
Right.
was in the crowd. He's like, I'm gonna be the singer for this band. You know what I mean? And here we have like an image of like, I'm gonna be the drummer for this band. You know, it's So yeah. So anyways, that's the Jay Weinberg story.
There you go, Mrs. Huey. Yeah, so that's
Loved him on Conan. That was so cool.
Jay
That's
Weinberg.
his son.
Yeah.
Yep. Jay
Yeah.
Weinberg.
Yeah. So his
Max
son
Weinberg,
is the
yes.
drummer.
His
son is the
yeah,
drummer.
yeah.
of
Max
Slipknot now.
Weinberg is the drummer for Conan. Is that what they said?
Was the drummer for
It
Conan?
is the drummer for Conan. Was the drummer for Conan? Something like that.
I'm not sure.
But anyways, so yeah. All right. So there's that. So that wraps us up on the albums.
Those are the albums.
Those are the albums, chat. So live experiences. I feel like we've already kind of touched a little
Well,
bit.
I gotta
on
ask
some
you
of them.
this. You brought this up to me.
Ooh, okay.
Now I'm bringing it up.
Okay.
What is your favorite lyric?
My
Your
favorite
Slipknot lyric.
My favorite Slipknot lyric, same one as I told you the other day, is there's a song that really resonates with me. It's called Purity. And there's a lyric in the song during the chorus where Corey Taylor sings, "You all stare, but you'll never see. There's something inside me." And I feel like with a lot of our conversations that we've had about like the formation of the band and like all the struggles they've had and everything, like you could see how that really fits the personality of Slipknot, you know what I mean? And to me that really hit home with me because like I've struggled with depression and stuff and anxiety my whole life. And so like whenever I think about that particular lyric and how that applies to me, it's like I go out and have conversations with everybody every day. I go to work every day. I perform my job duties, and it's like like people just don't know what you're going through on the inside. You know what I mean? And that lyric right there, ever since the first time I heard it, it's always been a personal favorite of mine. I've considered getting a tattoo of it actually,
Nice.
but haven't actually done it because those cost money. But
Right.
so now I get to kick it back to you. Then that's my story and my lyric. What is your official favorite lyric of Slipknot?
Official?
Well, I mean,
I'm gonna add. I know we
all
talked
right.
about this.
Yeah.
I know we talked about this. I'm gonna touch on something else here.
Okay. What do you got?
Mrs. Huey loves your lyric, by the way. Yes.
Powerful.
Very good.
It's powerful lyric. It really is.
So Mike and I talked obviously before the show and just what we're gonna go over and all that stuff. So Mike asked me, do you have a favorite Slipknot lyric? And right away, I know there's 5 albums, there's tons of music, tons of songs, tons of lyrics. And I'm like, you know what? The one that hits me the most that I come back to all the time is people equal shit.
People equal shit. Yes.
Because I'm just like, I've said it, Mrs. Huey can attest to it. There's so many times where I'm just like, when people are just assholes
Yep.
and do stuff, just bad stuff, or they just don't care about other people. They don't take other people's feelings into consideration. I'm just like, man, it just shows.
Yep.
It's just, they nailed it. It's so simple. I'm just like, fucking people equal shit sometimes, man.
They really do.
I feel bad that I shouldn't say that's like my favorite one, but that's just what I know. I say that now a lot because it just hits me.
Yep.
But
can we get if there's any graphic designers in chat, can we get a coffee and people equal shit sticker made for Huey?
I want a t-shirt.
A t-shirt.
Yeah.
Yes.
Between two streamers, coffee club, people equal shit. Yeah.
It's perfect.
Perfect.
All right.
I was gonna say though, talking about joking way out. Yeah. There's actually, I think it was like a behind the scenes thing I saw, and I know we were gonna talk about this in a bit too.
No,
but,
we're good. Listen, we're 2 hours in. I think we could talk to you about anything at this point. Okay.
We're gonna talk about whatever. What was I gonna say? There's a few things that kind of touch here.
Yeah.
And we were going to talk about, I don't know at what point this would have happened, but like I've seen them behind stage. There's actually like a GIF that I kind of saw too. It's like a part before the show. All of them, like they all. I don't know if it's now or if it was at a different point, but like they all love each other. The nine guys, like again, I don't know what point this was at, but like they were like behind stage. They call each other brothers.
Mm-hmm.
They're hugging each other and like like I don't know if they were praying, but like I'm trying to remember it all. But
Yeah,
like
yeah.
you know what I mean? They just like huddled together. They came together. Like they were just like they would do anything. They were supporting each other. Like you're ready to go. Or a great show after like, and like I don't know, just like brother. Like they would
Yeah.
do anything for each other. They would fuck. You know what I mean? Like
Yep.
I remember seeing that and thinking, wow, like you don't see that a lot from adult men, from
Yeah.
grown men. You know what
Yeah.
I mean? There's like a
Yep.
stigma, whatever, homophobic. I don't know what it is, but there's just like a thing between men expressing their feelings towards other men that you don't see a lot.
Yeah.
And that was one of the first times I've kind of seen that where it was just like they would do anything for each other, and I just
Yep.
thought that was really cool. And the one lyric, I think it's in, I don't know if it's in Sulfur or one of the other slow ones from that album. I know it's on that album, but when Corey says, "I've never known trust like the 9."
Yeah.
And I thought that was really cool, and that adds to just, I don't know, they've been through a lot, and I know the members have changed, but just like seeing the way they are,
Yeah.
like I just thought that was really cool, and they've probably been through a lot. They've been together, fuck 20, well, most of them.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Been together a long time, and it's just, I thought that was really cool. I just
They've been
never
together
known trust like the
at this
9,
point. A lot of them have been together over half of their lives.
right? You know,
You know,
like
and
you're fucking brothers at that point, man. You're
there's
doing whatever.
exactly.
You know, like
There's a part of me that wants to believe, probably just as a hopeful Slipknot fan, okay, as a maggot, I want to believe
yeah,
that they're going to continue to have some internal turmoil. They're going to always be going through some
oh yeah,
shit, but
you're 9 different people, right? Like
but it's like you said, man, like they're fucking brothers. And
yeah,
like at the
it's
end of
just
the
neat.
day, I would hope no matter what's going on, even if they're quarreling with each other, one of them could call and be like, "I need you," and they'd get on a
Yeah,
fucking plane and they'd
yeah,
be there. You know what I mean?
yeah. Just
So
like putting their arms around each other
yeah.
and like lifting each other up. It's a quick little thing. I don't remember. It might have been a documentary
Oh,
or an
I
interview
know
or
exactly what
whatever.
you're talking about. I've seen it
You
before.
know what I mean? You
Yep.
kind of got it. Yeah. I just like, that's cool. Like it's
Yep.
not like they all or whatever, and they're not. It was just a different level of
Camaraderie.
men
Yeah.
embracing each other
Yep.
and lifting each other up that you don't see a lot of. And I was just like,
Yep.
that's really cool. And yeah, when he said, "I've never known trust like the 9,"
Yep.
I just like the way he says that, right? Like it's
Yep.
not like from my members or my friend or whatever. It's just like
Yeah.
the not like calling them the 9. Like
The
it's really
9.
cool.
Yep. So
That's the
I do
fan
have
club
to
too, right? Outside the 9.
the 9.
Everybody
Yeah.
like they're the 9, they're the group, you know, the 9 of them are
Yep.
Slipknot, and the fan club is called Outside the 9. So that's
Yep.
everybody else, like
Everybody
right? Like that's
else.
so
Yep.
neat.
So
So
I
cool.
am going to sidetrack briefly onto another band.
Yep.
Just because we're kind of talking about the same thing right now about like the, you know, the relationship that a group of men can have like that. Rammstein, who is still to this day one of the most popular bands in the world.
Right.
You know, Slipknot's they're right there with Slipknot. They really are. But for many of years, they have been performing and together longer than Slipknot has. They're still all originals. Every member is the original member,
Right.
and they're the same way though, and they go as far as actually having a group therapist for the band. They all sit through like family therapy, they say,
That's
and like
awesome.
hash all their shit out. And like it's to the point that like one member's ex-wife is like one of the other members' current wife and shit. They're like all still together, which is, don't get me wrong, like that's weird. Don't get me wrong, but like, you know,
Must be some crazy music after that happened.
yeah, I can only imagine. It's weird,
Yeah.
but like still, like they sit down and they work through their shit, and
Right.
they get through it. You know what I mean? Now, like the circumstances around that though, I think they were like divorced for many years before she ended up with the other guy.
Okay.
So it wasn't like divorce in one city, everybody gets on the tour bus and they get married in the next city or
Yeah,
anything.
yeah.
But no, but like, I just wanted to touch on that because that's like another band that off the top of my head kind of goes through the same thing with all like I think there's 5 or 6. I think there's 6 members in Rammstein, and they go as far as going to therapy together. It's just fucking crazy.
Wow.
So anyways, yes, the 9 and outside the 9, we are not your kind.
And I think that like we'll get into that now, but like, yeah, going to therapy.
Exactly.
Is like the whole "we are not your kind" thing. I feel like includes the fans,
It
right?
does. It does.
It's the 9 of them, and that's everybody that's a fan of Slipknot. It's all of us, like whatever the maggots. I don't care. But like, you know what I mean?
Yep.
Yeah. But it's like, and then at the shows, like how I started the episode. If anybody came in after I did my little thing there at the beginning, like at the shows, that's what he talks about, right? He talks about everybody being brothers and sisters and family. He like
Yeah.
every fan in that stadium, he makes you feel like, you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
it's so cool. It's
When you
it's
are at a
not.
Slipknot concert, you feel like you're a part of the family.
Yes,
You do.
yes. And
You
I've
do.
been to a lot of shows. I've been to a lot of concerts, and
Hmm.
you don't see that, right?
No.
They don't make you feel like that. And I don't know.
There's
It's
there's
just
there's such a
really,
huge difference between getting together at
really
a
cool.
concert with a bunch of people who are also fans of the music and
Right.
getting together at a Slipknot concert of like you just feel like everybody there understands. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like man, we're like
I don't know if that's a
we are
Corey thing.
I
I
I
don't know
don't
if
know.
That's just the way Corey does his thing on
Yeah.
stage, and he's behind. He just likes or if that's a band decision for Corey to
Yeah.
talk like that.
Yeah.
I don't know, but like,
Well, I mean, I think a lot of it comes from what the band's been through. You know what I mean?
yeah,
How they started and what they've been through. Like I feel like they understand that like the group of people they have pulled together as their fans probably have a lot of the similar pasts as they do. You
right,
know what I mean? And so like the congregation to their concerts is it's literally like we made it successful being up here and doing this, but these people feel the same. They've gone through the same shit. They're here for the same fucking reasons we are.
right,
So like this is our family. So
right.
that's just how I feel about it anyways. But
Yep, yep.
so yeah.
So good.
Sorry, I have to send a quick text.
All good.
Really
Anybody
professional
in the
podcast.
we're getting into the live. I think we're going into the live
we are.
experiences.
We are. I think that's where we're going into now.
Has anybody? I'm curious. Anybody else in chat has seen them live? Has anybody
Oh,
else
that's a good
been
question.
to? Has anybody else been to? I know Mrs. Huey has, but has anybody in chat seen Slipknot live? While we're getting into this, so how many times, Mike, have you seen them live?
3 times.
3. Okay. All same place or?
Nope, 3 different places actually. Once in Springfield, Illinois. Once in Peoria, Illinois, which are not too far from each other. That's where I grew up around Springfield, Illinois area. And then the last time was the Cedar Rapids show. And
Nice.
Don't get me wrong, all the concerts were good. Okay, they were all fantastic. But that Cedar Rapids show, as I was explaining earlier, like, oh my god, I was beat up and sore, and
no voice,
no holds barred all night because what an amazing concert. Headache,
one of the worst headaches, and no voice.
Yes. So that was my last concert experience with them was the best, but the other 2 were probably from the earlier album days, like probably more around like the once after Iowa and then once after Volume 3 days. And I don't know, man. Like I said, it's just Every
Yeah.
concert's fucking brutal. The first one, Slayer opened up for them.
Oh,
Oh my god, and, dude, you've never seen fans get down like Slayer fans get
I've seen
down,
Slayer.
dude. Oh my
I've seen Slayer.
god, you've seen Slayer, so
Slayer.
you know what their concerts are like. They're good too.
Yeah,
And then
I saw Slayer. I think I saw Lamb of God open for Slipknot the one time.
so did
Slayer
I.
was somebody else, but yeah, Lamb of God and then Slipknot. Yeah.
In Springfield, Lamb of God opened for them, and I I don't I this is hard to say, but I think Lamb of God might have outperformed Slipknot that night.
Oh wow.
They went that hard, and the crowd went that hard. And I think it was like I always tell everybody my experience from that concert was hilarious because everybody went so freaking hard during Lamb of God that like
Yeah.
Slipknot came on and you could tell it was like everybody had already been through a full concert. Everybody's like
Right.
exhausted, like, oh God. Like,
Yeah.
wait, we have another band to go through. So but you know,
Not an easy one either.
every single time, absolutely phenomenal. Saw them twice with all 9 original members. I met backstage Clown, Joey, and Paul. Had a T-shirt with all 3 of their autographs and lost the T-shirt in the fire a few years ago.
Damn.
I held on
That's
to that
really
thing.
cool you got to meet him though.
Oh, dude, it was so cool. And Joey is tiny, by the way. He is a tiny little guy. But
Nice.
man, and again, just for the short, little meet and greet, you know how it is at concerts, they've got people to go through. Like they were just
Right.
it was 3 guys you could tell were so appreciative just to have fans there. It was so cool just to do
That's
that
good.
little meet and greet. So
That's
anyways, how
good.
many times have you seen Slipknot live?
I've seen them 4.
Oh, okay.
I've seen them. 2 of them were indoors, and 2 of them have been in like the pavilion setup. So I saw them in Joe Louis Arena
Okay.
in Detroit, where the Red Wings play. I think Huey and Dirty Mike need to make a pact tonight that they will someday somehow go to a Slipknot concert together. Bucket list.
Yeah.
I love you, dear.
Let's do this.
You are so right.
Let's do
I'm going to
this.
you though. Mrs. Huey and I are coming to you though and seeing
Fair
them in
enough.
Iowa. That's
Wait,
gonna be fucking
okay, in
amazing.
Iowa. Then we're all traveling to Iowa to see them. All
Yeah.
right, fair
Yeah,
enough.
okay.
So that's the bucket list right there. The 4 of us go and see a Des Moines, Iowa Slipknot show.
Oh,
Let's make it happen.
love it. Love it.
I'm
love
in.
it.
I'm 100% in.
That's my wife right there. I love you.
There we go. Round of applause for Mrs. Huey.
Oh, you're the best. So yeah, so Joe Louis Arena, indoor. That was one of the first ones. Was that the first one? I don't remember. I wore this whole outfit that I started with the mask, the whole 9 yards. Was that the first one? Yeah, I don't remember now. Saw them there, and then saw them at Mayhem Festival in Detroit, DTE, which was like the outside pavilion, and they headlined that, and unreal. Like that was just amazing. I can't remember. I don't remember which one happened first now. And then I saw them in Toronto with my buddy. Did I see the other one? 2 of them I saw with my buddy Waters that I game with. So then saw him in Toronto. Was supposed to see them, and then COVID happened. Was supposed to see them with the Day to Remember, and that all got canceled.
Yeah.
And then just recently, like last summer or last fall, got to see them in Ottawa.
Nice.
With Cypress Hill, like I said, and
Yep,
that was another indoor one. I gotta say, the Ottawa crowd is kind of lame.
Anybody we have watching,
they are
Ottawa,
like.
I'm sorry.
Mrs. Huey and I have been. I don't care. Mrs. Huey and I have been to shows, and a lot of people want to like sit and chill and like enjoy the show, and that's not how you go to a Slipknot show. Again, I think a lot of people went to that show for Cypress Hill, and then Slipknot headline, and they got a wake up call, man. Like it was nuts. Like I knew what to expect.
It's happening.
Yeah, and even the my buddy that I went with, he had never gone to see them live, and he was really excited to see Cypress Hill,
Yeah.
but he said like, I really want to go to a Slipknot show.
Yeah.
And so we got there, and he was like blown away. I'm like, dude, you have no idea what's coming.
Yeah.
Like, you have no idea what you're about to experience. And just like the first song when the curtain dropped and boom, like it hit, like it was he just laughed. He was just like, oh my god. But yeah, so really different kind of crowd. Like everybody's stand, like there's no like little bit of moshing, but not really. Like,
Are you
I don't know,
a
man. Like
mosher?
Toronto,
Are you a mosher?
I have a little. I don't like it anymore.
Yeah, I used to be a
I
mosher.
kinda,
I'm not a mosher anymore.
no, we're too old, man.
We're
Like
too
I've been to
old.
shows where I had no control over my own feet. I know we're getting off topic. I saw Silverstein. I saw Silverstein at Warped Tour in
Yeah.
Detroit, and that's just sweating your balls off in the dead of summer in a fucking parking lot with no shade.
Yeah.
And just I had no control over my own feet at that show.
Yeah.
I made it through two
Was it
songs,
the
and
shoulder to shoulder just
oh
just
just getting moved, just like fuck me, like trying to like enjoy the show. I made it through two songs and had to get out. So
there's
I've
gonna
done
be a
like
clip of me and
smaller.
you looking like fucking like
Yeah, if we go, I want to be in the stand. I want to be in the seats, headbanging as hard
Yeah.
as I can, but
Yeah.
not getting pushed around. So like smaller venues, I've been to and did a little bit of moshing, but I usually like being just off the side as close as I can.
Yeah.
But for like the big stadium ones, for Joe Louis Arena and for Ottawa, they were both like like the hockey stadiums. I never really got like the floor.
Yeah.
I'd get as close as I can with the seats, and then the
Yeah.
two pavilions, there's like maybe like a little front thing that people get general admission for, but that's all like
Yeah.
tiered, like road seating in a big pavilion.
Okay.
So
Well,
anyway.
so you got to brag on Miss Huey, so I have to take this opportunity and talk about I have to take the opportunity to brag on Miss Dirty here for a minute. Okay, so I am a big fan. I didn't have a Slipknot shirt to wear tonight. I went and I've gotten fat, so they didn't have 2X shirts. So I just I just wore my John 5 shirt because he's like my favorite guitarist of all time. And me and Miss Dirty go and see John 5 anytime he comes around, him and the Creatures. And
Okay.
the last concert that we went to, so Miss Dirty is pretty short compared to me, right? So, but like we're like down there on the floor, and she's just like pushing her way through people, and like I like to be right up on the stage,
Right.
right. So she's just like pushing her way,
Bobbing
just
and weaving
excuse
and
me, and people are just getting out of the way, and we're just like making our way up through, and we got to the point where we were only like 2 or 3 people back from the stage at the last John 5 concert. But
nice.
yeah, so she is my bodyguard at the concert.
Nice.
She's the one who gets everybody out of my way and gets us
Perfect.
to the perfect positions at the concert. So
Awesome.
yes. But yes, it was awesome because when we first got together, she didn't really listen to a lot of this music either. But you know, we've since found a lot of bands I feel like we really connect with and enjoy listening to together. John 5 particular being one of them. So you know, going
Nice.
to those concerts has always been, you know, one of my favorite experiences with her, and
Absolutely.
having her be able to get me up as close as I want to be is fantastic. Nobody's gonna get out of my way. I'm gonna be like, excuse me, and they're gonna be like, fuck you.
Yeah.
You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
they'll get out of the way for her. Yeah. I will say I'm not even gonna go over even close to go over how many concerts I've been fortunate enough to go to, but I will say that hands down, Slipknot is my favorite to see, and
Okay.
we'll do whatever I can to go see them if
Yep.
they're coming around. Slipknot and Adele. Mary and I got to see Adele perform.
Okay. You did give me a heads up that you like all kinds of music, so
Yeah,
I probably
yeah.
shouldn't have been as caught off guard with the Adele drop there as I was. But
Those are two very different friggin' things, right?
very
But like
different. Very
that
different.
was such a cool experience to be able to see her and watch her just do her thing like that. She's unreal. So it was that was something else, and don't know how often, like she's doing her Vegas thing, but like an actual tour. I don't know how much she's gonna do that. So that was pretty neat. But like
nice.
even like I said, even as Mrs. Huey said in the beginning, like she went to that and it's something else. So
So
What do you got for clips?
I
I
was
feel like
gonna say
we've been talking for over, we've been
this is
talking
gonna
2.5 hours,
this is
and
gonna end up being one of
nobody
our
has a fucking clue what we're
okay.
talking about if they
So
haven't seen them live.
again, I have to. I probably say this every show, but like I knew that like our sole topic was gonna be Slipknot. So in my head, I'm sitting there wondering, I'm like, man, I hope we have a good amount of time to be able to talk about this topic. You know what I mean? Like,
I wasn't worried about that
I
at
just
all.
need to fucking stop having that concern and just know
Yeah,
that, like,
you and I can talk. We're good.
I think we could just, I think we could come in completely without a plan. That should be like show number 5. Like, let's not
Yeah,
plan a show and see what happens.
let's just talk.
um, so the first one I think would be the most appropriate to play because we've talked about the evolution of the band, where they came from and where they are now. I have the side by side comparison of a 1999 Ozfest show and a 2001 Knotfest show, their own festival. You know what I mean? So
Okay.
I'll go ahead and again, chat. No audio. We won't be getting hit with any copyright strikes or anything like that. So we're just going to kind of talk while it's up here. But yeah, so here we go. You know, you can see like at Ozfest, they were literally 9 guys on a stage meant for like 5 at most. You know,
Yeah,
whereas you know then you get into like Knotfest and they're fucking performing in a massive stadium with like what looks like 3 different stages just dedicated just to the band, you know.
things are on lifts and
They've got the
fuck, like
hydraulic lifts going up. They've got
oh,
people set up on
bashing on
platforms,
kegs and
like just absolutely amazing. So
yeah,
that's clip number 1. That's kind of the new versus old Slipknot. Again, each one of those concerts phenomenal in nature. You know what I mean? That's they still
right,
put the same energy. We talked a lot about like backstage turmoil and all that kind of bullshit tonight, but just to be clear,
right.
no matter what, when Slipknot hits the stage,
Oh,
it is a brotherhood. They are there for you, and they put on one of the craziest and best shows you could ever imagine, no matter what else is going on. So,
yep.
um,
Even if you don't like the music, I know that sounds so stupid, and I can't believe I say that. Like, it's so dumb to try and tell somebody that. But even
yeah,
if you don't like the music, and the tickets are hundreds of dollars, right?
oh yeah,
To
yeah,
tell somebody that is sounds so dumb.
yep,
But like, I just can't get over. Even if you don't like the music, or if you like whatever, the show is
a
something
show.
else.
It's
It's
amazing.
something. The energy and it's something else, man. It's
If you're
just
not willing to
crazy.
give up, you know, $100 or whatever per ticket for like a once in a lifetime experience like that,
Yeah, that's what I'm getting.
then
Yeah,
you know what I mean. Like that's it gets to that whole like everybody pays, you know, for material things all the time that go
right,
bad. Like we should
right,
be investing in experiences with each other. You know,
right.
I talk about Miss Dirty and I going to our John 5 concerts. You and Miss Huey have gone to Mrs. Huey have gone to, you know, Slipknot shows together. You know, or like those experiences can never be taken away. They'll never go away. Those are you guys'
No,
memories forever. You know,
I, I, I got tickets for. Sorry, but
go. You're
no
good.
sorries. I
No
said, fuck, shut
sorries.
up. I got tickets for Mrs. Huey, for Taylor Swift and Keith Urban long
Yeah.
time ago. I knew
Mhm.
she liked him. We got the tickets. We went to the show. Keith Urban's one of like right up there. He's probably my third favorite.
Really?
And
Okay.
I've been to Tool and Slayer and Manson, and I've been to tons of shows. Keith Urban on the guitar is something else, man.
Yeah.
Amazing. Amazing. I would have never gone to see him live. I
No.
never really listened to the music, but the
Yep.
show, him running around, he runs in the crowd and he's fucking all over the friggin' stadium with his guitar, just playing guitar. Everybody's touching him and doing whatever. Like that guy on guitar is unreal.
Yep.
What a cool show. And that is something I never would have got to
Yeah.
experience either. But like just being a fan of music, if you're into heavier stuff or metal or anything like that, and you get the chance, if you're on the fence, just
Yeah.
go.
Just go.
It's
Just
it's
fucking go.
if you weren't a fan,
You
you
will
will
be.
be. Like it's
Yep.
crazy.
Absolutely. Well, during the last clip, we talked about how the you know they do go up onto like the different platforms and that kind of stuff. Here's a clip of Joey Jordison playing his drum solo.
I love this.
This
The
drum solo,
first
the
time I saw this,
platform goes up, rotating, and then tilts forward and then rotates. Continued on with his musical career with Slipknot and Murder Dolls, but musically talented. He played guitar for Murder Dolls actually, but just musically talented, man. He was such an amazing guy. And he had his issues, but everybody says, man, he was just like one of the most lovable people you've ever met in your entire life. So,
Nice.
rest in peace, Joey Jordison. It
Yeah.
will be missed. He definitely brought some unique stuff to Slipknot.
Like, how do you not how do you see that and not like the whole crowd just freaking goes nuts,
Yep.
nuts, and like
Um.
you're
Oh,
like,
sorry. Go ahead.
I don't get it, man. It's just crazy. That was
So
nuts.
one thing we haven't. Okay, so now
There's
we get
drum solos, and then there's drum solo. Like that's
that's a fucking
crazy.
drum solo right
That's
there.
a drum solo.
So you remember 2 hours ago when I tried to jump to this point? So we have the.
I love this show.
I do too. This is so good, dude. So good. Um, there's a certain part in the show during the song "Spit It Out" where
Yeah,
they play the first, verse, chorus, and they have like a little chorus they do where the music's just and Corey's like kind of doing like this little lyrics over, and they do it, and then they stop. And at that point they stop, they tell everybody to get down on one knee. All right, and everybody that goes to a Slipknot show anymore, they fucking know when it's time to do this. All right, you've been there,
That's the thing, right? Is that he actually doesn't even really say it anymore.
Doesn't have to
I've been to
anymore.
him now where it's like, if it like everybody look around.
Mm-hmm.
If you've been to a Slipknot show, you know what to do. If this is your first time, look around and follow what everybody else is fucking doing right now. That's pretty well what he says, or something to that effect, where he says, look around. And now I'm the freaking guy that I've seen him 4 times. I'm just like, everybody get the fuck down.
Get down already. We're doing this. It's happening. It's like the office scene where Steve Carell's running around. It's happening. It's happening.
Yeah,
it's
yeah,
like running
yeah.
around.
Like I know what's happening, and I know I've got to tell everybody. Like, everybody
the particular clip that I grabbed was by Huey's suggestion, by the way, at Download Festival.
Download, yes.
They were in a crowd of 80,000 plus people.
80,000 people.
And all of these people get down. And I, again, because we don't have any sound, I didn't have it to where like he was telling everybody to get down because there's a long period of time there. So you're seeing the end result of everybody has taken a knee, and then they start doing their next verse, and then it kicks off. So here we go.
So he does the whole and then everybody, like, there again, the guitar is going like for a long time.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody gets down, and then Corey says, when I say unleash hell, what are you gonna do? And everybody fucking screams unleash hell, and I repeat it like, I said what, you know what I mean? When I say unleash hell. So then is this it, or
I just played it? I played it. You want me to play it again?
Oh, sorry. I didn't know the drum thing was.
So it was kind of back and forth, but yeah, I mean, a wave. It looks like an ocean of 80,000 people fucking just jumping up and down like crazy. Absolutely insane.
And in the thing, like, again, this is 80. Like, I've seen him a bunch now, and it takes time for people that don't know what to do. Or people are like, no, I'm not going to do that.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
There's like, always those assholes.
There's like, no, or they're just like, well, I don't have, you know what I mean?
No,
enough people are doing it. I don't have, but no, he like straight up won't start until he sees pretty well everybody is down. Right.
Yep.
So it's you're almost like, the people that are still standing, you're like,
I'm just going to
play.
We're
not going to continue until you do what you're fucking told. So the crazy thing with Download, again, it's like 80,000 people. And as soon as that point hits, it's like seconds. And everybody got down.
Yep.
Everybody knew what to do. Everybody got down. And then 80,000 people all jumping at the same time is just...
So
Crazy.
that being said, all right, we've been talking about all this craziness, all this insanity, being in the crowd, getting shoved around, and just fucking insanity at a Slipknot concert. But we do have to say that the band themselves take safety at their concerts extremely seriously.
We brought that up. Yep.
And
Yep.
the next clip that I have is where you'll see the guitar player Jim Root. He kind of comes over and he kind of nudges Corey and like like kind of points at a spot in the crowd.
Yeah. Gives them a nod or whatever.
There we go. So like they're watching the crowd to make sure everybody's okay. And then at that point, Corey Taylor's literally like just stop. You guys stop. There's somebody over here. Can everybody make some room so the EMTs can come through and check this person out?
Yeah.
Music stops. They're mid concert. These guys are mid, just fucking going crazy, jumping, headbanging, fucking rocking out, and they're just like,
Yeah.
nope, wait, hold on a second, you guys. Everybody
Yeah.
get out of the way. Let the medical people get over
Yeah.
there.
Somebody wiped out or moshing or got hurt moshing
Yep.
and whatever,
and
and
then
you can get trampled. You can die, right? You could
die
fucking die.
concerts.
Like, if
I've
people
seen
aren't
people
paying
taken out
attention,
in
like,
ambulances. Yes.
yeah, you're gonna get hurt if
Yep.
something happened, like you got knocked or hit or whatever. I know people are moshing and whatever.
And he's like, this is where it's hard to hear some of the behind the scenes stuff than like the turmoil, because like then immediately he turns and he's like, hey everybody, let's give it up for my brothers for always keeping an eye out for everybody. Give it up for these guys up here. He's like, they're playing, they're fucking doing their thing, but they're always watching out for you guys. So he's like, it's like
Yeah.
the band for them. Hey, everybody, please give it up for my band. Like they're really, it's just like, God damn it, like it's so like
Cool.
it is. And the last clip I have is a clip that Huey sent me of.
I've never seen anything like this before, man.
Listen,
I couldn't believe it.
Anybody can enjoy a Slipknot concert, okay? And if you want to fucking crowd surf, well, let me tell you, here you go. Fuck yeah, bro.
Unreal. Unreal. I've never seen it. Like, holy fuck, he's in a wheelchair.
Crazy shit. But like,
unreal.
Man, I don't know. Like I said, it's just one of those bands I've grown up with. I'll always love Slipknot. I fucking love that band. The members in it seem so fucking good, so genuine. Hate to talk about all the behind the scenes stuff that we do, but as a band that's gone through 25 years worth of shit, there's some stuff there to talk about. But
Absolutely.
to see them still performing today, to see them still rocking and doing their thing, and you just saw them last year and still just fucking kicking ass, and to be
Corey was sick. I know we talked about that before this show started. Like, Corey was sick at that show in Ottawa. He's like, I'm giving you every fucking thing I have. Like, I'm pouring it out. Like, he was going off, like, he's giving it, right? And he's like going off and getting water constantly just to soothe his throat for a second, and then just keeps fucking screaming and giving her. Like, it's unreal. It's still just like you said, you said what I said earlier. It's just it's an assault. It's an all out assault, and the energy is like nothing I've ever experienced at a show. And I will say I feel like knowing the songs and knowing the lyrics helps, because I'm just belting it out as much as I can with him. You know what I mean? And I get it. I do that at you do that at shows when you know the music and whatever, but it's with the sound and the pyro and the crowd and the energy and I just can't not rock out with it. You know what I mean? Right? It's just crazy.
It's fucking amazing.
Crazy. So
before we wrap things up, I do want to say, if you guys are still here, yesterday the Raj TTV followed us. Jarzy, Christo, you guys both followed us today. Everybody, thank you so much for your follows. This fucking show is I mean, it's amazing. It really is. This is
It is.
just the fact that we've got people willing to come watch us just sit here and talk about things that we like
Yep.
is so amazing. So for everybody in the chat, for everybody who has followed, for everybody who gives us shout outs, for everybody who's on Twitter and helps fucking promote, and make sure you react and you talk to between two streamers on Twitter and participate. Every day there's a new thing to talk to between two streamers about on Twitter. So we want to see everybody's
Trying.
opinions. So you've been very consistent.
I'm not gonna lie.
I admire your dedication to the fucking Twitter because I hate Twitter.
I'm not gonna lie. The next time we go to like two movies or another friggin' band, I'm gonna be like,
what now?
I can't ask the same questions. I'm gonna run out of questions.
Well, the good news is by then it'll be like 2 months at past.
How am I gonna keep this going? I'll figure it out.
We'll come up with some stuff. So,
Yep.
anything else on Slipknot before we wrap things up today? Go fucking see them.
Go see him.
Go see
Go
them.
listen. Go listen to it out. I don't know, man.
Yeah, I know. That's kind of where I'm at.
Cool band.
It's a great band. It really is. You know, check them out. And
for so many different reasons. There's slow ones. There's heavy stuff. There's a little bit of everything in their music over the years. So it's
see them bad. Gamer, do it before it's too late.
Do it. So good.
It is. Yeah, so now we need to talk about the next show.
Mrs. Huey drops it. Oh,
nailed it. The timing's perfect.
Mrs. Huey's dropping the bomb.
I'm letting you handle it. Give us the next show announcement. What we got?
All right. I've been super jacked. Mrs. Huey is obviously super jacked as well. So Mike and I talked, and we are going to do the next episode on May 20th. Saturday, May 20th, same time, and we are going to talk about growing up in the 90s. No, you're fine. I'm just kidding. You're fine. You're good. You're good. I actually like that.
No apologies.
No apologies. No, you're good.
Not on this show.
You're good. No, do not worry about that.
No, not at all.
We're going to do growing up in the 90s. I've been talking about it a lot. Mike and I have talked about it. I am jacked to do that because I kind of got to do a little bit of one. Mrs. Dirty and you and a few others went in my stream the one day, and we got into talking about old cartoons and stuff like that.
We went on a tangent for a while.
That was like a precursor to this, and I think this is a really cool topic for anybody that's kind of in our age bracket that got to grow up in the 90s. Now I know I'm really old. JC's gonna be all over this too. Yeah.
Yep.
So. I'm really excited to do that one. I feel like that. I worry that one's going to be a long episode because there's so many cool things that we're going to bring up and talk about. And
as we're 3 hours into our Slipknot episode, I'm worried that's going to be a long one.
90s is going to be long. Maybe we talk about starting that one earlier. I don't know.
We'll figure it out. We'll make sure.
JC graduated high school in 92. So you're gonna have a lot. You're gonna have a lot to contribute to that one.
Yes, you have to help us out. Then you have to be there.
You'll remember lots.
Listen, my 90s was like Power Rangers. Okay, I fucking love Power Rangers.
Dude, we can't start. Don't start. We're gonna be here for 6 hours. We're gonna be here all night. Don't get into Power Rangers and Ninja Turtles.
Now. I could probably just talk about Power Rangers for
one episode at a time.
Here we go. Listen, Chad. This is like a behind the scenes footage right here because every time we get together and talk, we're like, so it's gonna be 90s episode, right? And next thing you know, it's an hour later, and we're like sitting there chit chatting about shit that
you're gonna be. About. I'm telling you, fuck. You're just gonna be Googling shit we talk about, like screen share. We got to figure out a screen share thing so you can just like bring up your Google so we can just look up shit together.
It's easy. It's easy enough to do. I can cover that.
That's what 90s is gonna look like. It's just gonna be a lot of reminiscing.
Yes.
So yeah,
sweet.
That one's gonna be good.
So May 20th, we are gonna be doing probably the same time. Probably.
Yeah.
We'll talk if it's earlier. The announcement will be on Twitter. It'll be in the Discord. It'll be everywhere. It'll make sure I'm going to be getting this. God damn it, Huey, you didn't remind me to record.
I did so.
No, you did not.
I did.
I
I
swear
did
to God.
so. I
Rewind.
said it.
Rewind.
I said it. I said it before the show started when I was putting my mask on, and you were like, "Yeah, okay, you're right." And then we got sidetracked.
We did get sidetracked.
Somebody got
okay.
sidetracked. You got to download the whole
I
thing.
clearly
I'm
got
sorry.
sidetracked. So
Do you remember me saying it though?
yeah,
We
I
got to
do.
sit this on camera.
I totally do. Yeah,
He doesn't remember.
No, you said it. When you said it, you just said it when you were around the time you were putting your mask on. Then I'm like, oh fuck, yeah, you did. And like fuck. Okay. No, you totally did. So
It's all good.
as long as I
It
can get
might
the
end up
VOD
on. This might
downloaded,
end up on YouTube.
it'll end up on YouTube as long as the VOD saved. But the setting should be good for the VOD. So
All good.
be watching out for the Between Two Streamers YouTube. Make sure that you get over there and check it out. We got like 20 views on the last video, so fucking awesome. For a 2-hour video, I'll take 20 views.
Hell yeah.
But yeah. Until next time.
Until next time.